Events begin at the Yan High School, one of the country's premier educational institutions. After the recovery of the global economy 50 years ago, the school gradually became a leading wushu school and became one of the most prestigious among thousands of similar institutions. The school employed more than 50 teachers with an E-level certificate, which was considered an average skill level. There were also E-level 3 masters, a high class. Every year, many students were transferred from this school to higher martial arts schools. One day, a black car with security pulled up to the school. A short-haired man in a white suit stepped out, Shen Jian, the young master of the Shen Corporation, whose appearance immediately attracted attention. There was talk among the students that he had entered the 11th grade straight away without taking the mandatory martial arts exam that was usually required back in the 7th. However, everyone understood that this was possible because of his background, and they tried to keep their voices down. The guards noticed the whispers, but Shen Jian made it clear that he didn't think much of it. He openly showed confidence that money gave him the right to ignore other people's opinions. At that moment, there was a commotion. Someone was trying to escape, and there was a random skirmish. The guy bumped into Shen Jian, and the guards immediately recognized him as Shen Haotian, calling him a thief and insulting him. Despite this, Shen Jian stopped the guards and showed calmness. He asked about the guy's situation and even expressed his willingness to cover his debt if he really stole something. However, Shen Haotian reacted sharply. He expressed contempt for rich heirs and refused to accept help, after which he ostentatiously left. The guards were waiting for the detention order, but instead, Shen Jian ordered 200,000 yuan to be transferred to Shen Haotian. This was surprising, as it was not the first time such generosity was repeated. Shen Jian explained that his father had many illegitimate children. Even though they didn't grow up together, he still considered them his family. He was especially worried about Shen Haotian, who had descended into theft and become an outcast of the clan. 2 years have passed. Shen Qian once again tried to connect his life with martial arts, but was rejected. They made it clear to him that he had no talent and advised him to go to a regular school. He was trying to prove that he was progressing, reminding me of the recently surrendered army hand-to-hand combat. At that moment, a person he recognized immediately appeared. Shen Haotian looked completely different now. An expensive suit, security, confidence. He has achieved recognition through a long training journey. Haotian openly humiliated Shen Qian, calling him a disgrace to the family and reminding him that he himself had spent 7 years practicing martial arts. He believed that past grievances should have made it clear who was who long ago. Not wanting to continue the conversation, Shen Haotian threw in a check for 100,000 yuan, making it clear that he considered Shen Qian to be a person of a different level. His guards only reinforced this impression, emphasizing the difference in status. Just as Haotian was about to leave, Shen Qian suddenly recalled the past, the amount he had once given him. He noted that the current aid was half as much. This made Haotian lose his temper. He tossed another check, ordering them to take the money and disappear. Shen Qian calmly accepted them, ironically noting the rising prices and saying that he would not demand interest. After that, he turned around and left on his own, leaving Haotian furious. The other man, looking after him, continued to think of him as nothing more than a barking dog. Shen Qian rode in a green taxi and looked calm on the outside, but inside he felt a sharp pain. He knew that no matter how much he pretended to be indifferent, the humiliation and sense of his own weakness did not disappear. Thoughts of Ian's school and what had happened there still lingered in his mind. The driver, noticing his depressed state, started talking and mentioned Yang's school, suggesting that Shen Qian might be a martial artist. However, Shen Qian was clearly aware that this wasn't the case. Despite 7 years of hand-to-hand combat training, he hadn't even reached the minimum level of physical fitness, inferior to most practitioners. On the way, the radio rang with breaking news. There had been a robbery and murder in Tin Shishan Park. The culprit had a scar on his face, was injured, mentally unstable, and practiced a second-level physical martial art. It was reported that he took a hostage and plans to flee the country, so citizens were urged to be careful. Shen Qian thought about the significance of the second level of physical fitness. 50 years ago, after the recovery of the world economy, martial artists began to influence the structure of the world. With the support of the state, they became the elite of society, and the system of ranks from A to E determined the status, respect, and position of a person. However, the path of practice was not accessible to everyone. Physical training was considered the lowest stage of body tempering and was divided into 9 levels, each of which greatly strengthened the body and made the bones like steel. Even the first level was unattainable for most ordinary people without innate talent. Martial arts and body tempering complemented each other. Hand-to-hand combat was taught in basic schools, but after graduation, only a few could break through to the first level of physical fitness. Independent training was forbidden, and high-level masters were extremely rare in society. Shen Qian clearly understood the difference between himself and a wanted criminal. He had already reached the second level of physical fitness, which meant that he had real combat strength. Shen Qian himself was only skilled in hand-to-hand combat, which was almost useless in a real battle against practitioners. The taxi stopped at the secluded house that was the only thing Shen Qian had left of his mother. His family had long abandoned him for lack of talent, and his father only gave out a small amount each month for survival. The heir of the Shen family was Hao Tian, who in 2 years managed to radically change his fate. When Shen Qian opened the door, he immediately noticed the black shoe marks on the floor and knew that there was an intruder in the house. Grabbing his knife, he moved inside, preparing to defend his last hiding place. In the living room, he saw a bound girl lying unconscious on the couch, which only increased his alarm. While he was trying to make sense of what was happening, he decided to call the police. The real culprit returned to the apartment, the same criminal from the news. With a heavy wound and a knife in his hand, he demanded money, intending to use it to escape, and quickly immobilized Shen Qian. Being bound and helpless, Shen Qian clearly understood the cruel truth of this world. Without power, one can only wait for death. He knew that if the culprit returned, there would be no mercy. Right at this moment, on the verge of despair, a cold mechanical voice sounded in his mind. The donut system was activated. Shen Qian noticed the strange voice in his head and was surprised by its appearance. The system advertised itself as a multiple metal cultivation tool that obeys the master and is able to select an object for generating qi, based on the principle of equality. Shen Qian realized that the system existed inside his mind and did not have a physical body like the master's spirit. He was trying to understand why it had suddenly activated and how it had ended up inside him. The system explained that its launch became possible after a long period of energy storage. She was originally in a deep sleep, and the practices Shen Qian had been going through for 7 years only served to prepare her for activation. Shen Qian realized that all the medications and training of the past few years that seemed useless to him were actually fueling the system, creating energy for future opportunities. He was relieved when the system promised not to absorb his life force anymore. The system shared its advantages. It works in 2 directions. The first is the conversion of material assets, such as gold, cash, or cryptocurrencies, into qi. The second is to improve the skills of the master, improve the martial arts already mastered. There are limitations. Only objects belonging to the master can be used to generate qi. In addition, to increase the level in a particular art, it is necessary to introduce practice at least at the initial level, otherwise progress is impossible. Shen Qian requested an analysis of his abilities. The system estimated his current level of hand to hand combat. It takes 10,000 yuan to advance to the intermediate level, 100,000 yuan to advance, and 1 million yuan to perfect. He was surprised by the high cost and regretted that the system did not start up 2 years ago. Looking at the knife on the floor, Shen Qian knew that there was still a chance. Despite the opinion of others who thought he was just a normal kid with no talents, he planned to use the system to survive and strengthen his skills. Memories kept coming back. The servant was reminding him that there was no progress, and that young Shen Qian was too weak to seriously practice martial arts. He recalled his attempts to train and resist, when he hit a tree and tried to overcome himself. Shen Qian found out about Hao Tian's sudden progress, who had reached the heavenly qi level and the first level of body refinement. These events motivated him to act faster, using the system as the key to survival. He found a knife and cut the rope his arm was tied to, preparing for action. At that moment, he heard the criminal return with a bag, but just in time he remembered about the card with the living expenses. Shen Qian activated the system, transferred funds from the virtual currency, and asked to upgrade his skill level to advanced. The system instantly processed the request, spending 9,300 yuan, and confirmed the successful improvement. Shen Qian quickly calculated the funds and realized that he was still about 700 yuan short. Even at the average level of hand-to-hand combat, he wasn't up to it, and the opponent, even if seriously injured, was still at the second level of physical fitness, which made the situation extremely dangerous. In desperation, Shen Qian gathered up all the small items he could find and ordered the system to take them all. After the conversion, it turned out that the amount was still insufficient. About 200 yuan was still missing, and he didn't have a penny more. At this point, the system detected an available target for additional conversion. Shen Qian's gaze fell on the bound girl, and he realized that even someone else's money could be a way out if there was no other choice left. The system warned that converting other people's funds requires direct physical contact for a certain amount of time, and the process should not be interrupted. The larger the amount, the longer the conversion takes. Shen Qian began to search the girl in a hurry, knowing that this was not the time to hesitate. He hoped that she would have enough money to make up for the missing amount. The system recorded the detection of several hundred yuan and started the conversion process, slowly increasing the completion rate. Shen Qian mentally hurried the system, realizing that every second might be the last. At that moment, the criminal had already opened the door of the house. When he saw that Shen Qian had disappeared from his previous position, he instantly realized that the ropes were no longer restraining the victim and was enraged. The conversion rate was inexorably approaching completion, while the criminal began to comb the house, realizing that his prey was trying to escape from the trap. When the system completed the conversion, the opponent had already rushed forward, attacking without hesitation. At the same time, Shen Qian activated the melee level upgrade to medium. Their fists clashed in the center of the room. The culprit was shocked that Shen Qian suddenly withstood the blow and responded with unexpected strength. The system confirmed the successful upgrade of the skill, and Shen Qian realized that he had made it at the last moment. If he had hesitated for even a second, the outcome would have been fatal. However, even with the boost, He knew that he was still inferior to the opponent. Injured, but still in the second level of training, he had an overwhelming advantage in stamina and strength. Shen Qian tried to buy time by pretending that he wasn't going to fight back any further. The criminal also admitted that he was seriously exhausted after the chase and previous collisions. Despite this, the enemy realized that it was impossible to pull further. He decided to use a qigong technique designed to heal wounds, knowing that otherwise Shen Qian might break out. The next blow was swift. Shen Qian managed to dodge, but the edge of the attack still grazed his neck, leaving a searing pain and a reminder that the fight was just beginning. The culprit charged forward, considering the opponent to be just a mid-level melee scum. Shen Qian didn't back down and slammed his head into the enemy's chest with all his strength. The criminal resisted, but he was thrown several meters away and he clutched his chest, feeling a sharp pain. Shen Qian was breathing heavily, proving to himself that the years of martial melee weren't in vain and that this art wasn't useless at all. Realizing that the usual techniques are not enough, the criminal decided to show a real martial art. He jumped up abruptly, gathering all his strength and unleashed a bloodhawk strike. Shen Qian tried to attack him in mid-flight, but in the next instant, the enemy disappeared from view. Almost immediately, the culprit appeared behind him and delivered the same blow with great speed. Shen Qian screamed from the terrifying backstab, blood spurted out of his mouth, and his body flew into the wall with great speed, smashing through it. The culprit, holding his chest, realized that the wound had reopened due to the use of the technique, and now he was only able to use a third of his strength. He was sure that Shen Qian was already finished. Shen Qian was lying by the ruined wall when the system suddenly registered the presence of a large amount of funds with disputed ownership and offered to top up the account. He smiled and agreed. At the same time, the money from the criminal's bag began to disappear right in front of his eyes, causing him shock and rage. Despite the pain, Shen Qian stood up and declared that the money was rightfully his. He immediately ordered the system to raise the level of hand-to-hand combat, and the system deducted 100,000 cryptojuns, transferring the skill to the advanced level. At this moment, the bound girl on the sofa started to recover and saw the criminal charging again. The criminal was confident in the superiority of his speed and considered resistance useless. However, Shen Qian clenched his fist and threw a punch with incredible force right into the enemy's chest. The criminal couldn't believe what was happening when he realized that he had received a crushing blow that could break even mountains. Shen Qian revealed that this was his last deadly hand-to-hand combat move and added that it was his money that played the decisive role. The criminal collapsed to the floor, and on his chest there was a clear impact mark, which became proof of complete defeat. The girl bowed deeply to Shen Qian, telling him her name and promising that if he ever needed help, all he had to do was say so. He calmly and without emotion immediately asked if she had any money. Wu Jin hesitated, looked down, and couldn't answer right away, clearly confused by the question. Shen Qian, noticing this, quickly lost interest and made it clear that if there was no money, then any words of gratitude or promises no longer mattered. At this moment, something strange suddenly happened to Shen Qian. His body staggered and he fell to the floor. Wu Jin was startled and rushed over to him, trying to figure out what was going on. Inside, Shen Qian felt a strange feeling, as if something was going out of control. His mind blurred, his heart beat faster, and then his eyes turned red, as if the beast inside him had awakened. Before Shen Qian realized what was happening, he suddenly grabbed Wu Jin's arm. She cried out in surprise, and he coldly reminded her of the promise he had just made, to help him in any way he asked. After a while, Shen Qian's cries of impatience and greed could be heard in the room, and his voice demanded more as if it wasn't enough. A short time passed, and the room's decor completely changed. Wu Jin, now calmer, spoke to him, asking if he wanted to continue. Shen Qian answered in the affirmative, clearly unable to stop himself. She soon returned with plates of food in her hands, surprised to see that he had already eaten more than a dozen servings, and wondering if he always had such an insatiable appetite. Shen Qian greedily ate the rice, explaining that he didn't know what was happening to him. He just felt unbearably hungry and couldn't control himself at all. Wu Jin admitted that she expected a different kind of request from him than food. Finally satisfied, Shen Qian let out a sigh of relief, and the girl noticed that she had never seen a man with such a brutal hunger. Shen Qian explained that he didn't usually eat like this, but quickly cut the conversation short, suggesting that he get down to business. He walked over to the unconscious criminal, and Wu Jin anxiously asked what he was going to do. Shen Qian calmly stated that he intended to get rid of this body, offering to help her, to which the girl immediately refused in fright and ran away to wash the dishes. Left alone, Shen Qian pondered that when killing monsters, it was usually possible to get a reward, and even if that person didn't have any money, perhaps they would have something valuable, such as scrolls with secret techniques. At that moment, he felt something hard in the criminal's pocket and pulled it out, cursing in surprise when he found the book with the Bloodhawk Strike technique. Looking at it, Shen Qian felt as if he had just received a cheat code. He realized that this technique was able to help advance to the second level of the corresponding martial art and was clearly superior to his current hand-to-hand combat skills. He was determined that he had to learn it no matter what, and immediately asked the system to estimate the cost of learning it. The system replied that it was not able to evaluate this technique because the owner was not familiar with it. Shen Qian only noted irritably that the system was still not advanced enough. He carefully put the book away in the dresser, deciding to keep it until he had saved up enough money to learn the technique at a high level or even to perfection. Shen Qian then asked the system what had happened to him and why he was so hungry. The system explained that accelerated practice through it greatly shortens the development time, but requires a huge amount of energy, which it directly extracts from the host's body to make a breakthrough. After realizing this, Shen Qian thought that under normal circumstances, masters would accumulate energy for days and months, advancing step by step. In a short period of time, he had suddenly broken through to an advanced level in hand-to-hand combat, which caused the energy to be drawn out even from the blood, which was extremely dangerous. He realized that such sudden breakthroughs could lead to death and mentally warned himself to be much more careful in the future. If there is enough energy, it will be fine, but if it is more than the body can handle, it can kill him. Shen Qian immediately asked the system what would happen if he tried to break through to a whole new level now. The system replied that the historical level of hand-to-hand combat required 1,000,000 yuan, whereas he only had a little over 100,000 in his account right now, which was clearly not enough. Even so, Shen Qian persisted, demanding to explain the consequences even if the funds were insufficient. The system honestly admitted that this had never happened before and it was impossible to predict the result, but warned that if there was a lack of energy, the host could die of complete exhaustion during the breakthrough. Shen Qian concluded that he would definitely need to stock up on high-calorie food and pills in the future to avoid such a death. After all, he wasn't going to die that easily. However, the main problem remained the same. He was sorely short of money, and without it, he could neither practice nor buy the necessary resources, remaining just a poor man on the path to strength. Shen Qian, looking at the body of the criminal lying motionless, wondered what to do with this corpse because it would be extremely unpleasant if someone accidentally discovered it. At that moment, there was a massive explosion at the front door, and the room was instantly filled with special forces, soldiers with weapons, who loudly ordered everyone not to move. Wu Jin walked up to Shen Qian in confusion, asking what was going on. The special forces immediately took her for an accomplice, without even giving her time to recover, and gave the order to detain her. Shen Qian only sighed heavily, knowing that he would still have to explain himself. They were both taken to the Special Forces Department, where after questioning the investigator quickly understood the situation. He said that the government appreciated their actions in detaining the martial artist, considering the incident an important example for the youth of the new era, who should understand that there is no need to be afraid and that even ordinary people can dare to stand up to evil. Shen Qian clarified whether this meant that there would be no more problems and received confirmation that his act was recognized as brave and useful for the police. The investigator noted that they are entitled to a reward for their courage and assistance to law enforcement agencies. He handed over the documents to Shen Qian and informed him that the decision had been made to award him a medal for bravery and give him a bonus of 10,000 yuan, offering to sign the papers if there was no objection. However, Shen Qian unexpectedly stated that he had objections, which surprised the investigator noticeably. Shen Qian began to describe in detail how dangerous the situation was, recalling that the culprit had threatened to kill the hostage, and he had shown not only bravery, but also coolness, and then engaged the opponent in a deadly duel. He stressed that their fight was life and death, and that the slightest mistake could cost lives, especially given the fury of the criminal, who threatened to massacre a residential area and drag everyone with him to the grave. The investigator, hearing this, was confused and cautiously asked again if it was really that serious. Shen Qian gravely stated that his personal safety didn't matter compared to the lives of others. So he took a risk, made a breakthrough, and ended up defeating an extremely dangerous criminal. He stressed that it was not the medal at all, and directly asked for an increase in the amount of remuneration. The investigator laughed, noting that such matters required approval from his superiors, and noted to himself that this guy was very mercantile. At the same time, his attention was drawn to Wu Jin, who looked kind and sincere. He apologized to her for her fear and admitted that the actions of the special forces might have scared her, promising to help in the future. Wu Jin, on the other hand, was a little embarrassed and suddenly asked for an increase in her reward, saying that she didn't need anything else. After all the formalities, they left the building. Shen Qian noted with displeasure that in the end, the investigator only added 50,000 yen, calling him a stingy guy. He then asked Wu Jin if she had received her 10,000 and why she was still following him after that. Wu Jin reminded her that he still hadn't returned the 300 yen he had taken earlier. Shen Qian was outraged, saying that he actually saved her life and was surprised at her stinginess, comparing her to the same investigator. Wu Jin immediately retorted, explaining that she earns money by working hard and can't just part with it. At that moment, Shen Qian's phone rang, interrupting their conversation. As Shen Qian picked up the phone, he heard Xiao Wang's voice saying that he had heard about his troubles and advised him to bow down to Master Hao Tian for his own good. Shen Qian calmly replied that he was fine, but Xiao Wang continued to reassure him, reminding him of Hao Tian's upcoming party and offering to take the chance to settle the conflict. After all, Shen Qian had once been kind to him. Shen Qian coldly replied that after Xiao Wang joined Hao Tian, he didn't need to help him with such advice anymore, either now or in the future. Xiao Wang tried to say something, but Shen Qian had already dropped the call. Wu Jin asked if it was a friend of his, and received a curt reply that it was now an ex. After that, Shen Qian suddenly changed the subject and directly told Wu Jin that she needed money. He offered her a job and asked if she would be willing to become his assistant. Wu Jin became wary and immediately clarified that she wouldn't do anything illegal. Shen Qian calmly replied that she was only required to help gather information, nothing more. The next day, Wu Jin stood outside, shivering in the cold, and was secretly angry, thinking that maybe that guy had cheated on her. At this moment, Shen Qian appeared in a hoodie and jacket as if nothing had happened, and noticed that she had arrived too early. Wu Jin immediately reminded him that he was the one who was late, and Shen Qian awkwardly apologized, dismissing it as not that important. She reminded him of the supply line job, and asked him where exactly she was going to work. Shen Qian calmly stated that they were already there. Wu Jin stopped abruptly, startled by what she saw, and couldn't believe her eyes right away because there was a huge mansion in front of her. She couldn't believe it, and directly asked if this was his house. Shen Qian lowered his voice and said that he was the son of the owner of this mansion and was going to become the heir again. Wu Jin immediately doubted it, saying that there were no such pathetic rich sons. Shen Qian only chuckled, suggesting whether to believe it or not, and walked forward, with Wu Jin hurrying after him. It turned out that this was the Shen family's mansion, and many people were already gathering inside. The guests were discussing among themselves why Hao Tian had decided to throw this party, and they assumed that he wanted to show off, since it was rumored that he had already reached the 3rd level of practice. Some people wondered how a man who was once considered a dreamer and a failure suddenly became a martial arts genius. At this moment, a red sports car pulled up in front of the mansion, and an elegant woman got out. The guard immediately recognized her and informed her that Hao Tian had been waiting for her arrival for a long time, and then, lowering his voice, noted that she was very lucky to have had a personal meeting with him. All this happened in front of the guests, increasing the sense of significance of the event. Meanwhile, Shen Qian and Wu Jin hid to the side. He pointed her to one of the guards and told her that all she had to do was follow his instructions clearly. Wu Jin wondered why he, being the son of the mansion owner, couldn't just enter by himself, but Shen Qian immediately promised to increase the payment by 500 yuan. That was enough for Wu Jin to confidently take matters into her own hands. When the guard announced that time was up and no one else was expected, Wu Jin suddenly made a fuss, claiming that her Xiaobai had run inside the house. The guard didn't understand who she was talking about, but Wu Jin continued confidently, claiming that it was the big puppy she had just seen. The guard refused to let her in, insisting that there was no dog here. Wu Jin did not back down, saying that Xiaobai was like family to her, and if he went missing, the responsibility would fall on the guard. He began to get annoyed and threatened to use force, pointing out that she did not even see where the puppy allegedly ran away. While the guard's attention was distracted, Shen Qian stealthily walked past the entrance and entered. Once inside the mansion, Shen Qian looked around and made a mental note that he hadn't been here in a long time, feeling slightly annoyed by what he saw. He thought that everything that was happening only made him more disappointed, and then he noticed a familiar figure ahead and realized that Hao Tian was already here. Shen Hao Tian stood on the stage in an expensive suit, holding a microphone. He solemnly greeted everyone present and stated that from now on, everyone who attends the event is considered a friend and part of the Shen family. The guests commented among themselves that his speech sounded like he was trying to win everyone over to his side, and whispered that Hao Tian was a desperate man, and those who did not come should expect trouble. Hao Tian continued by saying that he invited everyone because he is now a student at a martial arts university and sees future opportunities for cooperation in the younger generation. He then gave another piece of news, announcing Shen Corporation's planned cooperation with Liang Corporation, and mentioned Ms. Liang Ming separately, asking them to discuss the details later. There was an immediate uproar among the guests, because the news of the Shen family and Liang family's cooperation was unexpected and caused everyone to be surprised, as few people could believe that such an alliance would actually become a reality. Hao Tian turned to Lady Liang, waiting for her to answer, and the servant immediately reminded her that the master had made it clear that her word was important right now. Ling calmly made it clear that she understood everything and didn't need any prompting, maintaining an outward calm even though the audience's attention was completely focused on her. At that moment, a voice announced loudly that the speaker had been hard to find. Hao Tian turned around in surprise, trying to figure out who dared to interrupt him, and saw a hooded figure. When the man stepped forward, it was clear that it was Shen Qian, and even Liang couldn't hide her surprise at his appearance. Shen Qian didn't hide his sneer as he addressed Hao Tian as a brother, and stated that he urgently needed a small favor. Whispers immediately broke out among the guests. Many recognized Shen Qian and wondered how he was even here, because this was someone else's house, and therefore most decided to just watch, taking what was happening as an unexpected show. Shen Qian started complaining about his hard life recently, emphasizing that he had been through a lot of hardships. Hao Tian sharply asked who had even allowed him to enter, and the guards immediately rushed forward, shouting for him to be detained. Shen Qian started to elude the guards, deftly evading them, and then jumped up on the table, loudly accusing Hao Tian of having no conscience. The guards were ordered to surround him and prevent him from escaping, but he continued to move around the tables, openly declaring that he was greatly mistaken in his brother and considered him a much more virtuous person. As he continued to speak, Shen Qian stated that Hao Tian was the type to hide his true face behind a smile, returning ingratitude to kindness, and that in the future, people would treat him the same way, avoiding any dealings with him. Hao Tian, realizing that all this was being done intentionally and in front of everyone, ordered the guards to stop. Hao Tian directly asked what exactly he wanted, and Shen Qian, breathing heavily after the chase, asked the guards to move away, feigning complete exhaustion. He then reminded Hao Tian of how he had taken care of him as a child, from the cradle, and hinted that now it was time to repay the favor. Hao Tian clenched his fist, not wanting to listen any further, and demanded to get to the point. Standing on the table, Shen Qian confessed that he had serious financial problems. He couldn't even eat properly, was deeply in debt, and the debt collectors were already threatening to break his legs if he didn't pay up. He reminded me that he used to take care of his brother, and now he is waiting for help in return. Hao Tian directly asked how much he needed, and Shen Qian pretended to be magnanimous and said that he wouldn't let his younger brother get into trouble in the future, then named the amount, 2 million yuan. Hearing this, Hao Tian was infuriated inwardly, knowing that without the event, he would have just beaten him up. But with all this, he couldn't afford to lose face. Hao Tian realized that Shen Qian was deliberately putting pressure on the Shen family's reputation, forcing him to appear noble in front of the public. He publicly apologized for the shortcomings of the upbringing of some family members, taking responsibility for himself, and then went up to the table himself. In front of everyone, he announced that he would give Shen Qian 500,000 yuan today, emphasizing that this money should be enough for him to live a few years of peace. After that, he pointedly threw the check on the floor, offering to either accept it or refuse. Shen Qian, looking at the check, openly expressed his displeasure, calling the amount too small and accusing Hao Tian of being stingy. Hao Tian coldly made it clear that the choice was up to him, continuing to smile while Shen Qian struggled to contain his anger. Shen Qian noted with a sneer that his brother still hadn't learned how to keep things neat, and then he bent down and picked up the check, at the same time making a pointed remark about how Hao Tian had clearly not been properly raised as a child. He stressed that even with the current wealth, Tom should learn to take care of valuables, because weakness in such small things says a lot about a person, and such things should not be spoiled by such careless treatment. Hao Tian coldly replied that it was good that the check was raised after all, and expressed hope that Shen Qian would stop messing around. He would find a job and stop relying on his family's support, since the Shen clan wasn't going to support such a person forever. With that, he slapped Shen Qian's shoulder hard. The impact caused Shen Qian to lose his balance and fall onto the table, which broke down. Inside, he immediately realized the fierce force he was facing, realizing that this was the third level of practice pressure, and that this was exactly what he had expected from Hao Tian. Rising to one knee, Shen Qian mentally noted that the old him would have given up long ago in such a situation. Then he remarked aloud, ironically, that for a mere $500,000, it wasn't worth destroying the table if the goal was simply to kill it. Hao Tian let go of his hand and said with ostentatious ease that it was just a joke, and he allegedly gave a massage after seeing his brother's weak body. Shen Qian immediately responded with a scathing comment, noting how powerful this massage was. Hao Tian reminded that the money had already been transferred and made it clear that it was time for Shen Qian to leave as he had his own business to attend to. Shen Qian agreed without protest, then turned around and said that there was no need to send him off, as if it was a favor. When Shen Qian left, one of the guards cautiously remarked that this guy was constantly harassing the owner about money and might be worth dealing with. Hao Tian ordered him to leave him alone, clean up the broken table, and continue the event, making it clear that the evening was far from over. Inwardly, Hao Tian thought disdainfully that Shen Qian was naive to think that money could be obtained so easily. He was sure that his blow had directly grazed his brother's heart, making it impossible for him to train properly, and he mentally mocked him for spending that $500,000 on something useless. After leaving the mansion, Shen Qian mentally acknowledged that Hao Tian had been cruel, and he really had almost been hurt. However, he immediately let out a sigh of relief, considering his performance a success, and hoping that no one had noticed that he had secretly raised the level of his martial prowess. Shen Qian noted that this was quite an achievement, and even wondered if he had overestimated Hao Tian, since he was only at the third level after all. He decided that he would be able to deal with further problems now that he had the money at his disposal. At that moment, Wu Jin appeared, who immediately asked if he had managed to get the information, and complained that she was very cold, already thinking that he had run away with her reward. Shen Qian handed her the money, saying that he wasn't the type to cheat assistants, and gave her a share of 1,000 yuan. Wu Jin was genuinely surprised by the amount and admired that he really did look like a rich man's son. Shen Qian self-mockingly replied that he was still far from truly rich, sighing heavily. However, Wu Jin immediately reminded him that he still owed her 314 yuan. Shen Qian flared up, reminding her that he had already given her 1,000, but she calmly explained that it was a payment for help, and that he had previously taken the money from her and therefore had to return it in full. Shen Qian muttered in exasperation that he was going to call her a miser from now on, but was told that no matter what he called her, a debt was still a debt. Moreover, she reminded him that he himself had mentioned an additional bonus of 500 yuan, which meant that according to her calculations, he should have given her not 1,000 but 1.5. The bell rang in Yanbei Middle School. The hallways were immediately filled with activity. Students were hurrying, talking and calling each other, because the main event, the elite class selection exams, was starting. There was already a fight going on in the ring. Two of them were fighting in earnest. One of them tried to throw a powerful punch, but at the same moment his opponent disappeared. Once behind him, he coldly pointed out his weak stance and inability to properly release power, then kicked the opponent far back. The defeat was announced immediately, the name of the loser was read aloud, and the next contestant was called. Nearby, the judges were quietly discussing that the personal selection of a student by a teacher was too strict, because even restraining the strength at the first level, students could not withstand even 3 techniques. The director just sighed and reminded that everything was different before, but after the shameful case of bribing rivals, the rules had to be changed, because one student, relying on the family's money, bribed everyone at the selection and ended up not being able to enter even the weakest martial arts school, becoming a disgrace to Yanbei. At the school's front entrance, Shen Qian carefully climbed over the fence, thinking about the fact that the guard was proficient in second-level martial arts, trying not to make any noise but still grazed the plants, causing a rustle and a slight shiver. The guard woke up, looked around irritably, and was about to scold another truant when he noticed Liang Ming. Instantly changing his tone, he praised her talent and congratulated her on successfully passing the exam, after which, satisfied, he returned to his post. Shen Qian watched from hiding, then quietly thanked Liang Ming, and she directly asked whether he came to the selection today, reminding that this year the rules have changed and bribery will no longer work, to which he confidently replied that now he relies only on his own strength. Liang Ming left for class, promising to wait for him, and Shen Qian stayed for a moment, realizing that she had helped him again, even though he still hadn't been able to repay, and realized that there was no time to waste. On the playground, the martial arts teacher sternly looked at the students, asking if there were any others willing to take the test. While everyone was whispering about his cruelty and the fact that the losers come out barely alive, the teacher abruptly declared that this set was the worst in years and was about to announce the end of the exam, when suddenly there was a shout, and Shen Qian walked out of the crowd, calmly stating that he wanted to try. In Yanbei High School, Shen Qian's name had long since become almost a legend. Teachers were constantly remembering him, comparing him to new students, and even breaking down with harsh words, which is why the first-year students heard about him even before classes started. For the school, he was a special case, a student who was talked about with irritation and apprehension at the same time. Unexpectedly, Shen Qian himself showed up at the school and announced his desire to participate in the selection process for the elite class. His appearance immediately caused tension. Principal Liu was shocked and could barely contain his anger because Shen Qian had long graduated from high school and, in his opinion, had no right to return. The atmosphere was so tense that the judge had to intervene to calm the management. The students watched in surprise, whispering among themselves. They immediately knew that this was the same Shen Qian that the teachers had been talking about for several years. He himself was calm and even ironic, as if he was amused by his own fame and the reaction of others. Shen Qian directly stated his intention to pass the assessment, recalling the rules that allowed graduates to re-participate in the selection process. However, the headmaster strongly objected, saying that Shen Qian was not suitable for martial arts and was only a disgrace to the school's name. Inwardly, Shen Qian knew that he couldn't do without the teacher's interference. The situation was changed by Teacher Ling, who unexpectedly agreed to allow Shen Qian to take the test. It was his first time seeing him in person, but he had long heard of his reputation. Teacher Ling despised people who he considered useless and did not hide his attitude, calling Shen Qian a disgrace to the school and a person who had tarnished his name. The reaction of the students was mixed. Some believed that Shen Qian was simply being publicly humiliated, while others suspected that the case might be related to money. In response, Shen Qian did not make excuses and, on the contrary, offered a bet, betting on his own success and transferring a large sum, which completely stunned the others. The principal tried to stop what was happening, reminding him that this was an official exam, but Teacher Lin, under the pressure of the situation and his own dignity, accepted the challenge and agreed to bet the same amount. The judge noted that to refuse to meet the views of the students for Lin would mean loss of reputation. As a result, the principal had to concede, putting forward strict conditions. The teacher was forbidden to use force above the first level, and if life was threatened, he would immediately intervene. Teacher Ling assured him that he would not kill Shen Qian, although he did not hide his confidence in his superiority. Shen Qian calmly accepted the terms and accepted the responsibility. The students anxiously discussed what was happening, realizing that Teacher Lin's anger was a dangerous thing. Among the crowd, Liang Ming watched the scene with interest, feeling that it was completely Shen Qian's style to cause such a commotion right after returning. When Shen Qian and Teacher Ling came out on the playground, the tension reached its limit. The referee announced the start of the test and everyone froze, waiting for what surprises this unexpected duel would bring. Ling Jie was introduced as a teacher at Yanbei High School, with an E2 certificate and a 6th level of strength. Before the match started, he asked if the opponent was ready. Sheng Qian, who was considered an ordinary student who had only recently started his path in martial arts, calmly allowed the teacher to approach first, not showing the slightest bit of excitement. There were doubts on the part of the observers. It seemed obvious that Sheng Qian wouldn't be able to pass the selection. However, Ling Zhi immediately launched an attack, abruptly speeding up his hand movements. The headmaster instantly recognized the beginning of the Thousand Flowers technique, a technique that creates the illusion of multiple hands that are almost impossible to defend against. The judge explained that previously the teacher used it only as a third technique, and now he used it immediately. Ling Zhi swiftly approached, and Sheng Qian noted in his mind how fast this attack was. The first blow missed its target, it was deflected, and it became clear that the move did not work. The students were shocked. It turned out that Sheng Qian was able to clearly see the teacher's movements and block them. Ling Zhi acknowledged his attentiveness, but Sheng Qian coldly remarked that it wasn't enough and suggested using something stronger, mentally pointing out the flaws of the strike limited to the first level. The teacher reproached Sheng Qian for his arrogance, reminding him that such behavior was unacceptable. In response, Sheng Qian mentally noted the irony of the situation. Since the disdain was shown to him, he decided to respond in kind. Liang Ming watched anxiously, knowing that such words only served to increase the examiner's rage and complicate the situation. Ling Zhi changed his technique. The judge recognized the white monkey fist move. The director explained that if the previous technique required mindfulness, this one focused on pure strength, and even the slightest mistake in the block could lead to defeat. The admission rate was far above the requirements of the qualifying exam, and the headmaster was confident that it was time for Sheng Qian to learn his lesson. The teacher charged. Sheng Qian, accepting the challenge, noted to himself that without real combat experience, it was impossible to reach a high level. He reflected that practice is more important than the techniques themselves, and that this is why he is able to exceed expectations. At this moment, he used the 8th martial art technique, intercepted Ling Zhi's arm and twisted it, neutralizing the force of the blow by using the opponent's movement delay. Ling Zhi lost his balance, and Sheng Qian knew that this was his chance. The judge noted with amazement that the student had used his own martial technique to completely extinguish the power of the white ape fist. The director, watching what was happening, recognized that Sheng Qian's level of hand-to-hand combat was not just advanced, but extremely complex fighting styles. Ling Zhi realized that this wasn't an ordinary student. Shane then made it clear with a grin that he had long been considered unable to learn martial arts due to his background and wealth. He knew that this was what people said behind his back, but that was why he had come, not only for the sake of betting, but also to prove the strength and honor of the Sheng family. He offered to use the strongest technique, saying that if he retreated even one step, he would leave the family forever. The students were shocked. The image of Sheng Qian in their eyes completely changed. The reminder of the $100,000 bet only added to the tension. Lin Ji acknowledged his bias, but said that as a sign of respect, he would use the most powerful blow allowed at the first level. The headmaster tried to stop him, reminding him of the rules and the prohibition against using the great mantra prop. The judge understood the real reason. The teacher did not want to lose money, which was extremely important to him. Ling Dai explained that the power of the white mantra is huge, but the technique takes time to accumulate energy and is vulnerable against fighters with a wealth of experience. However, given Sheng Qian's style and his desire to save the bet, this was the most appropriate way to end the fight. With that thought in mind, he apologized and threw a punch. In the next second, a powerful punch landed on the spot where Sheng Qian was standing, but it disappeared. The ground was destroyed, and Sheng Qian himself was behind the teacher, noting the strength of the attack and adding that he really scared him. But the quick reaction saved him from defeat. The students watched in a daze and did not immediately understand what exactly happened. It seemed that Sheng Qian just managed to dodge at the last moment. Ling Ji was clearly shocked and wanted to say something, but Sheng Qian, acting too relaxed, reminded about the exam condition and asked if 3 strikes counted. The teacher flared up, reminding him that Sheng Qian himself had sworn not to shy away, but he easily waved it off, admitting that it was just a joke. He added that he had already been kicked out of the Sheng family for a long time, which means that words about the honor of the family no longer have any power, which finally knocked the teacher out of the rut. Liang Ming, watching this, was disappointed to see that he hadn't changed at all. Enraged, Ling Zhi demanded that Sheng Xian take another hit of the great mantra technique if he had any integrity left in him. To everyone's surprise, Sheng Qian agreed, but immediately raised the bet rate, increasing the amount by another 100,000. The teacher gritted his teeth and accepted the terms. The headmaster intervened and announced that according to the rules of the exam, 3 strikes were passed, which meant that Sheng Qian had successfully passed the test. Despite Ling Ji's displeasure, the decision was final. Moreover, the headmaster reminded that betting during the selection process violates the school's traditions, so Ling Ji was suspended from teaching for a week, and Sheng Qian was fined a large sum, which should have been deducted from the winnings. Sheng Qian's indignation came to nothing, and the director coldly signaled that the argument was over. It soon became clear that after being suspended, Ling Ji would be teaching a day class, where Sheng Qian himself was now studying. Realizing the possible consequences, he abruptly changed his tone and said that there should be no money conflicts between teachers and students. The headmaster merely chuckled at his calculating manner. When it was over, Sheng Qian was finally able to catch his breath. Ling Ji later found it himself and confessed that he was willing to lose the bet by asking for an account number to transfer money to. Sheng Qian handed over the prepared piece of paper without hesitation. The teacher acknowledged the debt and promised to take care of it in the future. When Sheng Qian was left alone, he was alarmed to think that he had managed to quarrel with the teacher before he even started school. The next day, in the elite class, he was not welcomed very cordially. As soon as he opened the door, a bucket of water fell from above, but his agility allowed him to stay dry. His classmates immediately started taunting him, calling him a coward and reproaching him for being the reason Ling Ji was suspended. Without a word, he went inside and tried to sit down at an empty desk, but it was missing its bottom. At that moment, someone called out to him, and when he turned around, he saw Liang Ming offering to sit next to him. He thanked her and apologized, noting that she hadn't changed at all. A teacher entered the classroom and announced that he would temporarily replace Lin Ji. Despite the whispers and sidelong glances, Liang Ming calmly made it clear that she didn't care. She was already considered an outcast in this class. After class, he returned home completely exhausted, calling the elite class a nightmare. He recalled a conversation with a teacher who had reminded him how many classes he had missed and handed him a stack of textbooks, saying that he would have to make up for his theoretical training from scratch. Sheng Tian was hesitant at first, thinking that practice was enough, but the teacher explained that without theory, it was impossible to discover the true potential of the force. When he got home, he stared in horror at the mountain of tasks and wondered aloud how it was possible to cope with such a volume. The thought of an assistant had just crossed my mind when there was a sudden knock on the door. Wu Jin was standing in the doorway crying, begging for help and claiming that someone was chasing her. Soon, there was another knock on the door, and Sheng Qian ran into several suspicious men who were looking for a female student. He was brash and cold, making it clear that he wasn't going to get involved in other people's problems. The mention of the house's wealth caused the intruders to back off, deciding to check the information first. When the door closed, Wu Jin revealed the truth. Her father got drunk and gambled, got into debt, and ran away, leaving her alone. The creditors decided that she should pay and began to pursue her. Wu Jin was about to leave so as not to get Sheng Qian into trouble, but he stopped her, saying that her father's debts had nothing to do with her. He offered to let her stay with him temporarily, hinting that she would have to pay for it. Fearing the worst, Wu Jin thought of the worst, but Sheng Qian only laid out the textbooks in front of her and announced the real price: help with homework. The next day, at the Sheng family mansion, a servant reported that Sheng Qian had been accepted into the elite class of Yanbei High School. Hao Tian, hearing this, thought that this trash had not learned anything, and even if he resisted, he would easily be suppressed by someone with experience. At school, the students discussed Sheng Qian and his relationship with young master Hao Tian. They pointed out that Hao Tian had long wanted to punish Sheng Qian, but because of his position, he couldn't do anything. The students decided to intervene, hoping that their actions would bring benefits in the future. They talked about how Sheng Qian, even though he was from the Sheng family, was weak and couldn't advance in martial arts in 7 years, laughed at him and made plans to force him to drop out. Sheng Qian, noticing this, noted their activity with a slight sneer and suggested that the meeting be moved to a more private place, away from the school. The boss of the group explained that this place is one of the few without cameras, and even if they are beaten, there will be no evidence. Sheng Qian was surprised that there were no cameras, but he realized that he could act freely. There were shouts and punches, but Sheng Qian barely tensed up as he watched the 3 opponents who were at the advanced level of martial arts fail to harm him. He easily dealt with them, and the amazed fighters recognized his superiority, maimed and frightened, promised to avoid clashes in the future, and explained that they would no longer oppose him. Sheng Qian proposed a compromise. They should pay a small amount and remain friends and classmates. The students, amazed by his strength and skill, wondered how to deal with such a powerful newcomer. The boss suggested another way: to complain to the director. They went to the principal's office, trying to look pathetic, and complained that Sheng Qian had beaten them up. However, Sheng Qian came with an audio recording that could be heard of their entire discussion, and they were forced to admit the lie. The director insisted that they explain their behavior and admit that they pretended to be beaten up to frame Sheng Qian. Sheng Qian sat in the classroom, watching with satisfaction. He noted that his classmates recognized their mistakes and was pleased that he was able to demonstrate his superiority without violence. He realized that now he would be able to establish order and set an example in the elite class. At the training base, the teacher announced that all students should train hard to prepare for the monthly exam. Winners will be able to receive a valuable recovery pill. Sheng Qian thought that this pill was much better than the blood qi pill because it instantly replenishes a large amount of qi, and decided that he would focus on training, but a single hand-to-hand fight wouldn't be enough. At this time, Zhu Tian noticed Sheng Qian and was surprised to meet him, as there were misunderstandings between Sheng Qian and his friends earlier. He didn't expect to see him here, and Sheng Qian noted with a smile that he was ready to train and solve any problems, showing his calmness and confidence. Later, Sheng Qian, reflecting on the events, realized that to reach a high level in martial arts, one needed not only to learn techniques but also practice, and that was why he could advance where others were stuck. His strategy included careful observation, timely response, and using experience to conserve resources, making his training as effective as possible. Sheng Qian looked at Zhu Tian coldly, feeling annoyed inwardly. Previously, the latter was always hanging around him, not having an opinion of his own, always agreeing, and after Sheng Tian took the place of the heir, he immediately joined him. Zhu Tian pretended to be friendly as he reported that he had heard about a significant increase in Sheng Qian's hand-to-hand combat level. He allegedly had questions about the technique, and he offered to take advantage of the fact that the arena is now empty, to lightly brush off and clarify everything in practice. Sheng Qian chuckled as he thought of him as an overly determined little brother, but then noted that his level was unlikely to interest Zhang Chaoyu at all. Inwardly, he doubted Zhu Jiatian, who had only just started practicing, but already seemed to have an understanding of hand-to-hand techniques, which Sheng Qian didn't believe for a moment. He immediately changed his tactics and addressed Zhang Chaoyu in front of everyone, saying that classmate Zhu had questions about the technique and would like to ask for advice. Zhang Chaoyu calmly replied that if someone does not understand something, they can always ask for help, because they are classmates and should help each other. Zhu Tian cursed inwardly at this moment, realizing that his plan had failed. Later, as Sheng Qian walked past the staff room, he reflected that as long as he was in this school, Zhu Jie would definitely take every chance to make trouble for him. He decided to take a vacation to recuperate in peace and prepare for the monthly exam. The teacher asked how long he wanted to take a vacation. Sheng Qian, feigning weakness, said that he was very ill and needed to rest for about 2 days. The teacher agreed, noting that he saw his serious attitude towards homework and good ideas, and acknowledged that Sheng Qian had really changed. However, he warned that the holiday will have to pay for additional homework, and if he does not cope, the low score will be entirely his fault. Sheng Qian thought to himself, so Wu Jin really did everything without a single mistake? When he got home, he saw Wu Jin falling asleep on top of her books. He quietly asked her if she was still asleep, covered her with a blanket, and noted with a grin that she should be grateful for such a kind boss, otherwise he would have made her make tea for him long ago. When Wu Jin woke up, she spoke in confusion, not immediately understanding where he was. Seeing Sheng Qian training so late, she noticed that he was practicing the Bloodhawk strike, but the movements looked strange to her. Sheng Qian himself sensed something was amiss as he compared his movements to those of the bandit, and wondered if the difference between the two was really that great. At that moment, Wu Jin directly said that his movements were terrible. He was surprised to hear this, but didn't get angry and asked for an explanation. Wu Jin apologized awkwardly, but then still pointed out the mistakes. The movements were inconsistent, the position of the hands and knees was wrong. She began to adjust his stance, lifting his arms, lowering his knees, and forcing him to hold the position until he was truly comfortable. Sheng Qian felt that he was already at his limit, but Wu Jin did not allow him to give up, demanding to hold on for a little longer. In the morning, Wu Jin was surprised to see that he was still working out. She admitted that she was tired because she helped him with homework and training. Sheng Tian responded by throwing her a stack of money, calling it a salary, and asking if she still didn't have the strength. Inwardly, he was beginning to realize that Wu Jin had a special talent. She could detect mistakes in other practitioners, movements at a glance, based only on theory from books. Where the movements were wrong, discontent would immediately appear in her eyes, while the practitioners themselves couldn't see their own shortcomings. At the same time, Sheng Qian also noted Wu Jin's weakness. She was able to observe and coordinate, but her own body was far from balanced, which seemed like a waste of talent to him. A week later, the system reported that Bloodhawk Strike consisted of several levels. The first level had already been reached. It required 3,000 Wen to advance to intermediate, 300,000 Wen to advanced, and 3 million Wen to perfect. Sheng Xian was relieved that he had finally reached the first level of this technique. He understood that the Bloodhawk Strike, like any other technique, was far superior to normal hand-to-hand combat, as it had 2 stages of practice. This technique allowed him to complete the purification of his inner ki, while hand-to-hand combat looked pathetic in comparison. He began to calculate carefully. Combining the strength of the 2 martial arts would allow him to temper his body 3 times and reach the 3rd level of a martial artist. To enter the bloodline brain state, one had to reach the 9th level. Most practitioners began to comprehend the new state immediately, as complete cultivation required a huge amount of time and money, and the possibilities of body tempering were limited. Sheng Tian knew that only a few geniuses with resources and talent stayed at low levels for the sake of full development. He recalled the strongest practitioner in history with the 15th level of physical fitness, whose strength eventually began to suppress his own life, leading to death. But he was confident that with the system, he could train as much as he wanted. However, he was clearly aware that even his current means weren't enough to bring melee combat or Bloodhawk Strike to its full level. First, you need to raise the technique to at least an intermediate level in order to test whether the blood purification pill can withstand such energy consumption. He ordered the system to raise the Bloodhawk Strike level to medium. After that, he noticed that the effect of the blood purification pill was not fully felt, and there was almost no exhaustion. Realizing that the funds still remained, he decided to continue raising. After further strengthening, he felt tired and realized that the pill wasn't able to fully compensate for such a large energy consumption. Such a pill only gave the maximum effect when moving from the beginner level to the advanced level, but not higher. Sheng Tian deduced that if he wanted to become stronger, he would need not only money but also more powerful pills. Right now, his main goal was to obtain a large number of recovery pills. At that moment, Wu Jin called him to eat, saying that she had cooked noodles and added some fried eggs. Sheng Tian agreed, asking for more green onions to be chopped, and clearly outlined the next step in his mind, successfully passing the monthly exam. The Yanbei High School exam takes the form of arena duels. Before starting, each student is given a rating card, and after the fight, the winner and loser exchange ratings. Because of this, students with low positions intentionally look for stronger opponents to get up faster. This is how the overall ranking of the class is gradually formed, with Zhang Chaoyu, Zhu Jiatian, and Kai Xiuyin taking the lead. On the day of the exam, the teacher announces that the two strongest students are missing, so the rating of all those present is automatically increased. This causes mixed reactions. Some are happy with the growth of positions, others are dissatisfied with the fact that they lost the opportunity to fight with the strongest for the sake of combat experience. The class also feels contempt for those who are considered weak and unworthy. Attention shifts to Sheng Qian, who has recently been promoted to this class and has the lowest rating according to the rules. They expect him to at least try to show results. Most of the students treat him with ridicule, but there are rumors among them that he has recently defeated several fighters and his level of hand-to-hand combat is much higher than average. The exam continues, and the duels take turns. But the ranking leader Zhu Jiatian notices that no one dares to challenge him. He begins to provoke others, showing arrogance and openly despising those who do not enter the arena. His behavior irritates the class, as many people believe that he does not know how to restrain himself and goes too far. At this moment, Sheng Qian unexpectedly steps forward and challenges the ranking leader, despite the huge difference in positions and the official level of martial arts. His act is shocking to the students because by all accounts he shouldn't be Zhu Jiatian's rival. The battle begins quickly. Zhu Jiatian is confident in his own superiority and doesn't take his opponent seriously, but Sheng Qian suddenly demonstrates speed, accuracy, and rare technique. At the crucial moment, he gets behind the opponent and delivers a powerful blow using an advanced martial art, which leads to his complete victory. The result of the battle turns the entire class upside down. Sheng Qian instantly rises to the first place in the ranking, and students understand that he knows not only basic hand-to-hand techniques, but also complex martial arts, and without full-body hardening. Many people come to the conclusion that now only an absent leader can resist him in the class. However, the situation is changing rapidly. Soon, the first place starts moving from one student to another. Sheng Xian deliberately feigns weakness, gives up positions, and lets others take the top of the rankings, creating the illusion of chaos. This causes even more confusion among classmates. Gradually, it becomes clear that everything that is happening is part of Sheng Qian's plan. He tacitly offers students help in regaining their lost rank, turning the exam into a service of sorts. Although others are outraged by this behavior and consider it shameless, formally the rules of the exam are not violated. Meanwhile, Zhu Jiatian, having lost his status as a leader, begins to take out his anger on weak students, quickly rising at their expense. Sheng Qian keeps a close eye on this, and every time Zhu wins, he intervenes, suggesting that the losers regain their positions, further shaking the rating. After a while, the final table looks completely different. Zhu Jiatian is in the very last place. Sheng Qian deliberately takes a distant position, and the top lines belong to those whom he actually put there. Zhu breaks down mentally and becomes an object of pity and ridicule. At the end, Sheng Qian watches the exam results ironically. He admits that he went too far, but feels no remorse, because he achieved his goal. The exam brought him not only complete control over the classroom situation, but also significant financial benefits. In the arena of Yanbei High School, Teacher Lin returns after an absence and inquires about the strange results of the monthly exam that were recorded in his absence. Students behave with exaggerated joy and try to show that everything went perfectly. However, the teacher's attention immediately turns to Sheng Qian, who already had a reputation for handling matters with money. Sheng Qian excuses himself in advance, claiming that this time he did not use bribery. Teacher Lin suspects that instead of taking bribes, he simply manipulated his classmates, effectively eliminating competition. Sheng Qian explains that he simply established a relationship with the class and helped strengthen the weak, seeing nothing wrong with it. The teacher decides to turn a blind eye to what happened, but warns that in the future, such results will no longer be covered up. 2 days later, Sheng Qian sums up the results of the exam and realizes that he has earned more than 300,000 yuan, almost the entire amount needed to improve the Blood Hawk strike technique. He is approached by Wang Ping, who thanks to the first place was able to impress a girl from another school and even started dating her. He refuses the reward and hands it over to Sheng Qian, giving him the recovery pill. Sheng Qian is satisfied with the calculations. He received money, did not spend resources on developing technology, and also got an additional reward. In class, he thinks about further development, calculating the savings and realizing that he still lacks about 300,000 yuan to reach the perfect level. At this point, a student turns to him, dissatisfied with what happened on the exam. He accuses Sheng Qian of violating school rules and undermining the fair rating system. Sheng Qian gets annoyed, realizing that this is a man with the same direct and aggressive personality as Tak Seng, and makes it clear that he is not going to make excuses. The conflict quickly escalates, and it becomes clear that the interlocutor intends to solve everything by force. Sheng Qian recalls seeing him in training and knows of his high skill level, which surpasses Zhu Jietian's despite having little combat experience. Realizing the danger, Sheng Qian tries to smooth things over by admitting his mistake to avoid a direct collision. He offers to solve everything in a fair duel with a monetary condition. If Sheng Qian loses, he will return all the money earned on the exam to his classmates, and if he wins, he will receive the same amount on top. Despite the huge risk, Sheng Qian accepts the deal, realizing that this is a chance to completely close the issue with pumping equipment. Soon, the entire school learns that the arena was occupied by a senior student, Zhang Chaoyu, who challenged Sheng Qian because of the injustice in the exam. Students gather in the arena and openly support Zhang Chaoyu, wishing Sheng Qian defeat. Before the fight, Zhang Chaoyu shows calmness and even respect, and Sheng Qian asks permission to attack first. Internally, he hesitates, remembering his own principles, but decides to take the risk because winning will allow him to bring development to the perfect level. During the duel, Sheng Qian uses the Bloodhawk Strike technique, but quickly realizes that Zhang Chaoyu is extremely strong, has real combat experience, and practices Qigong, which makes it almost impossible to break through his defense. Sheng Qian realizes that he cannot win with ordinary strength and begins to look for a way to dispel the opponent's defensive barriers. In the midst of the fight, Liang Ming appears, and the tension in the arena momentarily subsides. Zhang Chaoyu explains that he is not bullying Sheng Qian, but only seeking justice. Sheng Zhen notices that Zhang Chaoyu is clearly attracted to Liang Ming and makes this his chance. Warning of the next attack, Sheng Qian delivers a sudden and extremely powerful blow, causing Zhang Chaoyu to collapse to the ground. The audience is completely shocked by what they have seen, and Sheng Qian concludes that he has formally won. The crowd erupts in outrage, accusing him of meanness and dishonesty. Sheng Qian tries to justify himself by saying that he warned about the attack, but the students do not accept this and continue to shower him with insults. Liang Ming, on the other hand, looks on and wonders if she should have come to this fight in the first place. In an abandoned place, people of an underground group report to their boss. The servant reports that Wu Jin really isn't hiding in an ordinary person's house, and that they've managed to find out the identity of the house owner. He shows the photos and says it's Sheng Qian, the former heir to the Sheng family's company. Previously, he was stripped of his heir status due to his complete lack of martial arts talent. The boss replies that now everything is clear. Despite being exiled, Sheng Qian is still a member of the Sheng family, so he can live in the mansion at such a young age. The servant asks if this will cause any problems. The boss says that you can't directly touch Sheng Qian because the Sheng family is too powerful. So you need to contact Brother Li and pass the decision on to him. Even if something goes wrong, the other party will be responsible. The servant praises the boss for being thoughtful. Then the action moves to the cafe. Brother Li gets information from his people. He says that he has to contact Yu Sangye and tells him to wait. The explanation goes on. Previously, Yangbei's underground market was in complete chaos violence, and violent debt collection were common. No one knew where the man named Yu Sangye came from, but he was the one who used terrifying methods to subdue all the underground credit corporations. After that, the system became orderly, and particularly violent groups called wild dogs were put on a collar and turned into hunting dogs, obeying the orders of the owner, although their cruelty did not go away. Yu Sangye is surprised on the phone and asks if this is true. Brother Li confirms that everything said is true. Yu Sangye says that it was a multi-million-dollar order, but given Li's record for efficiency, the loss can be ignored, and asks why bother him at all. Li replies that he has news that Sangye might be interested in. Yu Sangye tells Li not to worry about the Sheng family and do what he sees fit. Li assures that everything will be under control. After the conversation, one of the subordinates asks who this Sangye is and whether it is true that he is so influential that he cannot even be afraid of the Sheng family. Li just laughs and says there's no point in trying to figure it out. Yu Sangye, already privately, notes that having a smart subordinate is not bad. He thinks about Sheng Qian and wonders why he suddenly isn't the piece of trash that he used to be. He is alarmed by the abrupt change and suspects that Sheng Qian may have a system. Zhang then tells Sheng Qian that he has transferred 300,000 yuan to his account. Sheng Mian wonders why Zhang didn't give the money in cash, since he is obviously rich. Zhang explains that his father taught him to value money, not to waste it, and to live by principles. He says that money is gold, and if you don't know how to control yourself, it's easy to squander everything. Sheng Qian interrupts him and says that he understands that Zhang has a strict spending limit. Zhang confirms. Sheng Qian thinks irritably that if it wasn't for the 300,000 yuan, he wouldn't have skipped class for the sake of talking to Zhang. Zhang asks how they will go to school, because Sheng Qian asked for half a day off. Sheng Qian replies that he took the whole day off and won't go, but thinks to himself that he asked off right after the exam, and wonders how teacher Ling will react. At school, teacher Lin teaches a lesson and explains the source of the power. But in his mind, he is angry at Sheng Qian for the problems he caused in the exam and for not showing up for class. Liang Ming, meanwhile, thinks that he should remind Sheng Qian that if he continues to miss practice classes, he will end up on the list of laggards. Meanwhile, Wu Jin arrives at Sheng Qian's house, remembers that she hasn't been here for a long time, and rings the doorbell. She is surprised that Sheng Qian has returned so early, but instead sees Liang Ming. Both girls are shocked. Wu Jin thinks it's her brother's girlfriend, and she's embarrassed that he didn't tell her about her. Liang Ming, in turn, thinks that Sheng Qian is living with another girl. Wu Jin calls out loudly for Sheng Qian, but three men appear instead. One of them says that Wu Jin gave herself away in the most stupid way, and the other one notices that there is another girl and calls it a jackpot. It turns out to be Brother Li's men. The chief of them reports to Li that Sheng Qian is missing, but Wu Jin and another girl are present. Li replies that it doesn't matter, orders them to be detained and not released. The bandits begin to threaten the girls, but Liang Ming is the first to strike and kicks one of them in the face. The second one rushes at her, shouting that she dared to hurt his brother, but Liang Ming also kicks him. She says that the Liang family has a rule: act first, so as not to let others control you. First do, then say. The chief of the bandits is surprised and notes that he did not expect such a young girl to know martial arts. From her stance, he assumes that she is using the technique of standing constantly on the ground. Liang Ming senses his frightening aura and realizes that he is no ordinary bandit. The man says that since she is also a practitioner, he won't hold back. At this time, Sheng Qian is in the slot machine hall. He laughs and thinks that Zhang forgot that he wasn't going to go to school. Inwardly, he remembers that he left the recovery pill at home and planned to take it after receiving 300,000 wen to improve the level of technique. Zhang starts lecturing him on the phone, telling him that students' duty is to learn, that even during the holidays they shouldn't waste time on entertainment, and that at this age they shouldn't be lazy. At this moment, Sheng Qian gets a call from her home number. He's surprised and thinks it's Wu Jin and answers by asking if he needs to buy something. But instead, the man on the other side of the phone coldly says that Sheng Qian's girlfriends are being held hostage by him. Liang Ming and Wu Jin were tied up and sitting on chairs in the entrance hall of the Sheng family mansion. Their hands were bound and their mouths were gagged, making it impossible for them to speak or scream. Several men were standing next to them. One of the bandits held a knife in his hand and said with obvious anger that it was this girl who beat him and his brother to such a state, and now she is stubborn and not afraid. He said that they might not believe it, but now he was able to kill them in one move. At that moment, another man stopped him and harshly rebuked him, reminding him that Brother Li had strictly ordered not to harm the hostages and asked if he had forgotten about it. The chief among them writes down a message for Sheng Qian. He reports that his girlfriend owes their boss more than 3 million yuan. If Sheng Qian didn't want the girl's ears and fingers packed in boxes, he should hurry up and collect the necessary ransom amount. Brother Li, after learning about the situation, is satisfied. He orders the hostages to be used as bait. As long as Sheng Qian decided whether or not to show up, it would look like he was attacking a creditor for non-payment of a debt. At this point, Sheng Qian calls back. At that time, he was in the arcade hall and on the phone says that the girl is just a maid, which no one knew, and that in fact she owes him money, and her problems do not concern him. Privately, he thinks that you can't show panic and you need to take control of the situation. Continuing the conversation, Sheng Qian sarcastically asks what kind of bandits they are who can't even organize a kidnapping properly. He asks them if they know who he is and says that he only needs to make one phone call and they will end up in jail. In his mind, he tries to calm down. The man on the phone is angry and asks if Sheng Qian is afraid of what they might do to the hostages. Sheng Qian replies mockingly that he has nothing to fear and resents being distracted from the game by such nonsense. He adds that next time they should call by video link so that he can see everything for himself, then says goodbye and resets the call. Privately, he thinks about turning the caller into a hostage. The bandit says in surprise that it looks like Sheng Qian really doesn't care. Brother Li, after listening to the report, replies that despite this, they achieved even more with the call than they expected. Zhang Chao notices that Sheng Qian is in a hurry after the call and asks what's going on. Sheng Qian tells him to wait and tries to think things through. At this moment, Sheng Qian gets a call again. He thinks irritably that they're moving too fast and haven't even given him time to think through a plan. He picks up the phone and mockingly asks if they're calling because they've changed their minds. The man on the other end tells Mr. Sheng not to jump to conclusions and says they have another hostage. He clarifies that this is a girl and that she is now in Sheng Qian's house. Sheng Qian is surprised, saying that there is another girl. Zhang Chao starts to ask what's the matter. Sheng Qian covers his mouth and says into the phone that he is being taken for a fool and that he can't have so many girls in the house. The man rudely tells him to stop pretending and bluntly says that they have 2 hostages. Sheng Qian asks what they want. They explain to him that everything is simple. He should not make a fuss and must immediately bring 3 million yuan as a ransom. As soon as the money is received, the girls will immediately be released, and this is promised. After that, the man hangs up. Sheng Qian points out with displeasure that he just dropped the call. Zhang Chao is indignant and asks what is going on and why he was covered up. Sheng Qian replies that his friends have been kidnapped and demands money, threatening to beat them up. Zhang Chao becomes enraged and says that this is outrageous and that the police should be notified immediately. Sheng Qian replies that the police are an extreme option and you should only go there if the girls are killed. He asks Zhang Chao if he can help. Zhang Chao confidently replies that he won't just let it go. An hour later, on the outskirts, at the main entrance of the Sheng family mansion, a man dressed in Sheng Qian's clothes appears. It's Zhang Chao, who came in his place. The bandits rejoice at his appearance, call him Sheng Qian, and say that just a couple of days ago he was stubborn, and today they will teach him politeness. One of them claims that Sheng Qian is a trash who doesn't know anything about martial arts, and that no one needs to interfere, because he will deal with him himself. He shouts and attacks using the King's Fist, trying to hit Zhang Chao. However, the blow does not reach the target. An unknown force protects it. The bandit flies several meters away. The startled bandit exclaims that this is the golden barrier of reflections, and realizes that this is not Sheng Qian. Zhang Chao takes off his cap and coldly says that those who use martial arts for evil deeds will have to accept their punishment. Inside the Sheng family mansion, two bandits were discussing what was happening outside. One of them noticed that there was a fight going on outside and offered to come out to help. The second refused, pointing out that Brother Li had ordered them to stay inside and guard the hostages. At this moment, Sheng Qian sneaked up behind them. He mockingly pointed out that since they obeyed orders so obediently, he would reward them with a free demonstration of his skills. Just a few seconds later, the two bandits were already lying on the floor unconscious, and Sheng Qian was calmly stretching his arms. He noted that these bandits were not bad, and decided that the next step would be to release the hostages and leave without too much noise. Sheng Qian quickly untied the girls and only then realized who the other hostage was. He was surprised that it was Liang Ming, and noted that these people were so stupid that they didn't even recognize her. Liang Ming agreed with this. Wu Jin immediately suggested that we leave immediately. However, Liang Ming stopped Sheng Qian and warned that these people were not ordinary bandits. There's a high-level martial artist among them, and the danger isn't over yet. Suddenly, a man's voice rang out and said mockingly that there was no need to tell all this, because it was much better to show everything in practice. After that, a bandit stepped out of the shadows, claiming that Sheng Qian had never noticed his presence. He admitted that he deliberately revealed himself and waited for him inside the mansion. The man added that Brother Li had given him permission not to hold back when it came to Sheng Qian, and that even his death wouldn't be a problem. He asked if Sheng Qian had any last words. Sheng Qian reacted harshly and without fear, rudely rejecting his threats. The bandit grinned and said that he was wasting his last words because now he was going to die. In the next instant, Zhang Chao intervened and suddenly attacked the opponent with the Steel Mountain technique. The bandit was thrown forward by the powerful impact. Without missing a beat, Sheng Qian immediately struck out with the Bloodhawk thrust technique, strengthening the attack. Sheng Qian made it clear that he didn't come here alone, and that he also had allies ready to join the battle. Sheng Qian notes that all the enemy's accomplices were weak and insignificant. He understands that this bandit would be too dangerous in a solo fight, so he and Zhang Chaoyu work together to neutralize the threat. Sheng Qian thanks Zhang Yu for his help and admits that he did not expect such a well-coordinated work. Zhang Yu, in turn, believes that they were just lucky to be there at the right time, especially considering that the bandits dared to kidnap Liang Ming. Sheng Qian jokingly hints that he saved Liang Ming for free and expects at least a small reward in the form of a recovery pill. At the same time, Zhang Yu realizes that despite Sheng Qian's words, he was actually very worried about the girls. Suddenly, Zhang Yu abruptly pushes Sheng Qian, Liang Ming, and Wu Jin forward, warning them of danger. At the same time, Zhang Yu is hit hard from behind. Sheng Qian is shocked to realize that the opponent, despite being severely injured, was able to get to his feet. It becomes clear that the bandit survived thanks to a protective talisman received from Li's brother. This artifact absorbed a significant portion of the damage, which allowed him to remain conscious after a combined attack. Liang Ming points out that this doesn't look right. Even without aggressive techniques in the first level of martial arts, it's impossible to continue fighting after such damage. Wu Jin recalls the information about the Fierce Beast Power technique. She explains that this is an extremely dangerous art, the peculiarity of which is that the more wounds a practitioner receives, the stronger their potential becomes while they are still alive. Sheng Qian can't believe what's going on, noting that this isn't a video game and that such a boost from injuries seems unnatural. After assessing the situation, Sheng Qian understands that if earlier they had to join forces and attack secretly to win, now that the enemy is back on its feet, it will definitely not be able to cope alone. He comes to the conclusion that the best solution is to retreat, but this requires someone who can hold off the enemy while the others leave the mansion and call for help. The most difficult thing is to choose who will remain in the role of bait. Zhang Yu makes his own decision and offers to stay behind to apprehend the bandit, allowing Sheng Qian to lead the girls away and call for backup. He swears that he will not allow the enemy to pursue them. Sheng Qian insists that Zhang Yu should only stall for time and not risk his life, promising to return quickly with help. Zhang Yu agrees, trusting him completely. The bandit taunts Zhang Yu, considering him an ordinary schoolboy with no real combat experience. Despite this, Zhang Yu throws himself into the fray without any intention of backing down. The opponent gives him a heavy blow, after which Zhang Yu falls. The bandit notes that if he wasn't so exhausted, the fight might have dragged on, but now resistance seems pointless. Despite his heavy injuries, Zhang Yu continues to cling to the opponent's leg, preventing him from passing through. The bandit in a rage kicks him in the face, trying to get rid of him. There are screams and sounds of fighting in the house for a long time, but Zhang Yu, bleeding profusely, still does not let go of the enemy. The bandit loses his patience and is about to finish him off, but at that moment there is a shout that stops him. Sheng Qian appears and informs them that Liang Ming and Wu Jin have already left the mansion and help has been called. Zhang Yu, exhausted, is relieved. Sheng Qian privately understands how dangerous the situation was, and realizes that if he had returned a little later, Zhang Yu might have died. The bandit is surprised that Sheng Qian dared to return, and wonders where the promised reinforcements are. Sheng Qian replies that it is already here, pointing to himself. The opponent laughs, thinking it's ridiculous, and claims that Zhang Yu at least possessed the first level of martial arts, while Sheng Qian, in his opinion, did not reach this level at all and does not pose a threat. Sheng Qian calmly accepts the taunts and makes it clear that he is not going to make excuses. He makes it clear that the enemy beat up his friend, and for this he intends to maim him so much that it will be impossible to recognize him. Sheng Qian, in the midst of a fight, suddenly falls into a flashback. He thinks about how from the very beginning, as soon as he started to explore this world, he was prepared for the legacy of the Sheng family corporation. They didn't see much of each other, but his father always said the same thing. The heir to the Sheng family must calculate everything before acting. Sheng Qian realizes that he didn't understand the meaning of those words back then. It wasn't until he was exiled from the family that he realized their value. A scene pops up in my mind. My father, in a rage, declares that the Sheng family does not need useless trash who does not know martial arts, and from that moment on, Sheng Qian is no longer considered a family member. He also recalls another case. Once he was asked for money, allegedly for charity, and the very next day it was reported on TV that this organization was closed for embezzlement of funds. Then he finally realized that calculating can really bring the maximum benefit. Sheng Qian reflects that calculation is important not only for the sake of money, but also for the sake of reputation, status, and achievement of goals. Sometimes it provides the greatest benefit precisely when it seems that it is not necessary. No matter how much he denied it, it was thanks to his father's teachings that he managed to survive. He thinks about his life after being exiled. He didn't take up martial arts, which were not directly useful, but went to work on a construction site in order to somehow support himself. He had a working hand, and the salary was small, but sufficient to survive. Thinking back to the present, Sheng Qian realizes that the opponent in front of him was clearly hired to deal with him, and the chance of victory is practically zero. He had previously asked Zhang Chaoyu to delay the enemy, while he brought the girl out and called for help. This was the safest option, but Sheng Qian admits that sometimes it's better to act, even if the chance of success is minimal, than to run away and then regret it all your life. At this point, the bandit mockingly asks if he is thinking of running away from home. Without waiting for a response, the bandit charges. Sheng Qian remembers that the opponent loses control in a rage, and this is his chance. The bandit tries to punch him in the face, but Sheng Qian dodges. Everything went according to plan. The bandit is angry and notes that the guy was agile. Sheng Qian notices the corner ahead and understands. This is his opportunity to get inside the room. He is waiting for one thing, the transfer of 300,000 yuan, after which the situation may change in his favor. He jumps, but the bandit chases him, not allowing him to escape. As a result, Sheng Qian falls on a pile of books. The bandit says that he doesn't care why Sheng Qian ran here, because he is cornered and has nowhere else to hide. Right at this moment, Sheng Qian takes out his phone and sees the notification. His bank account received 300,000 yuan from Yang Bei. Sheng Qian calmly states that even this strike was part of his plans. He explains that from the very beginning he wanted to get into this particular room, but deliberately ran in the opposite direction, knowing that the enemy would try to stop him. After that, Sheng Qian drinks the pill. The bandit immediately understands that it was she who was needed by Tom, and begins to laugh, believing that Sheng Qian will not be able to withstand her effects for even a second. However, the system is activated. There is a conversion of funds. 1 million yuan appears on the account, which is immediately debited to raise the martial art to the full level and start the process of cleansing the QE of heaven and earth. The bandit is surprised and admits that he underestimated Sheng Qian. He understands that he has started the first QI purification to advance to the first level of martial arts. But he still considers it useless and declares that Sheng Qian will still die. The bandit strikes, but at the last moment Sheng Qian catches his arm. Sheng Qian calmly tells the bandit that his strength was much weaker before, but now they are on the same level. He declares that the time has come to show a deadly move, the bloody fist of the hawk. The bandit mockingly replies that Sheng Qian has never participated in real fights, and that the first level of martial arts alone is not enough to defeat him. After that, they collide head-on. Their fists converge in a punch right inside the room. Sheng Qian flies back and mentally analyzes the situation. He understands that their strength is indeed equal. But the bandit is an experienced fighter who has gone through real battles, and his fierce beast technique is much more advanced. The bandit also flies away, but laughs and admits that the blow was not bad, but asks if this is all Sheng Qian's strength. He claims that his fierce beast technique is getting stronger with every hit he receives, and Sheng Qian is digging his own grave. Sheng Qian calmly asks if he is sure about this and charges again. The bandit is surprised by his speed. Sheng Qian launches a series of quick attacks, a flurry of bloodhawk attacks. The bandit explains that attacks are useless, because the main thing in this technique is the correct direction of force from the bottom up and the perfect stance. If the body is positioned incorrectly, the technique does not reveal its full power. Moreover, thanks to his own fierce beast technique, Sheng Qian's attacks only increase his potential. He threatens that if Sheng Qian continues, he will be able to kill him with one finger. Sheng Qian mockingly replies that if the bandit is really getting stronger, then why hasn't he inflicted any serious wounds on him yet? And mockingly calls his strength the strength of a pig. He provokes the enemy and offers to approach if he has the courage. The bandit is angry, admits his audacity even in the face of death, but at this moment makes a mistake. Sheng Qian notices that the opponent has opened up and knows that this is his chance. He delivers a powerful blow, from which the bandit breaks through the wall and flies into another room. The bandit admits that the blow was good but suddenly feels the strength leave his body and does not understand what is happening. Sheng Qian explains that the Raging Beast technique only increases the potential for light injuries, dulling the pain, but does not work for serious injuries. It was enough for him to strike again at the same place near the heart, where he had hit at the beginning of the battle to seriously injure the bandit and stop his technique. The bandit asks in shock if Sheng Qian has calculated everything so far ahead. He suddenly changes his tone, calls him Mr. Sheng, and begs him not to finish off his wounded opponent. Sheng Qian coldly asks him if he really believes that, and then starts throwing a series of punches directly at the bandit's face. He falls to the first floor and loses consciousness. Sheng Qian claims that he warned him that he would beat him, so that even his own mother would not know. After the fight, he starts waving his arms and complaining of pain. So the abduction incident is gradually coming to an end. All the bandits who made a mess were arrested and sent to prison. The martial artists were put in special handcuffs that block spiritual energy and were also taken into custody. Apart from the broken talisman, the man had nothing, no money, no other possessions. Sheng Qian notes with regret that he would like to learn more about the Raging Beast technique. In the police officer's office, Sheng Qian gravely tells the officer how dangerous the situation was. He claims that the criminal threatened to kill the hostages, and he himself showed wisdom and bravery, after which he conducted a duel at the highest level. The officer listens and thinks he feels like he's heard those words before, and wonders if it's the same guy again. Sheng Qian suddenly remembers and says that the captured martial artist was extremely violent, and offers to check him on the database. Perhaps he is listed as a murder in City Hospital No. 1, VIP ward. The system reports on the completion of the mission and the distribution of points received. Jiang Yu decides to invest all the points in stamina, as without using martial arts, his defense is too weak. The system explains that by helping people and doing good deeds, the host's power will grow rapidly. Jiang Yu replies that he doesn't do it for the sake of strength, but because he wants to. The system confirms that this is why it chose it. At this moment, Jiang Yu's phone rings. He says it's Liang Ming. She says that she is in the ward with Sheng Qian and Wu Jin, and they want to visit him. 3 days later, building of financial specialist Mu Zi, several panicked people turn to Brother Li. They ask him not to say that the situation cannot be corrected, and they beg him to give at least some advice on what to do next. Brother Li calmly replies that they are afraid of the Lin family. He says that as far as he knows, the head of the Lin Corporation is a crazy old man, but since his daughter was not really harmed, he turned a blind eye to what happened. The only thing that he said, if you want to take revenge on someone, do it yourself. People immediately brighten up and rejoice, saying that if the boss knows everything, then everything is under control. At this point, Xiao Hu runs in and shouts that there is trouble. The bank has frozen their offshore accounts. Others initially think that he was mistaken and just scares people, but Xiao Hu confirms that not only the main, but also hidden offshore accounts are frozen. He adds that Company XX broke off the cooperation agreement with them, and it seems that his computer was hacked and important data was stolen. He gets the feeling that someone is watching him. Brother Li silently thinks that he underestimated this Ling family girl and didn't expect this development at all. The Lin family headquarters, Lin reflects on the rules of her family. You need to act first to keep others under control, and in no case allow someone to control you. Even if this is the first time she's encountered such a situation, she should not rely on others. Everything should be done by herself. Sheng Qian is surprised that she has such abilities. He admits that he doesn't know much about finance and business, but notices that Lin has managed to corner the man who was hiding in the shadows. Lin asks if he's ready. Sheng Qian replies that, of course I'm ready. It's a good offer. The person is under constant surveillance. His every step is tracked, and he has nowhere to run. He adds that he would like to deal with Li Wenwei personally, but the police prefer to wait a moment to take everyone at once. In the meantime, Brother Li gathers people and says that everyone who worked for him will be blamed just like him, so they need to unite. People agree. He suggests getting everyone else together in the evening, just having dinner, getting drunk, and getting full to boost morale and prepare for the challenges ahead. Everyone supports his words. One of the people thinks to himself that Li Wenwei is really brave. Even at such a moment, he gathers everyone together. He believes this is exactly the chance Captain Wang has been waiting for. The same night, people notice that Li's brother isn't there. The last time he was seen was when he said he wanted to buy something for the holiday. Suddenly, the door crashes open and SWAT officers rush in. They shout for everyone to stand still and announce that all the employees of Muzi's office have been arrested for numerous crimes. Later, the officer interrogates the detainees and asks where Lee Wenwei is. One of the men says he doesn't know. He said he was going to go to the bathroom and never came back. The officer is angry and realizes that Lee knew about the raid and framed his men to escape himself. Then he suddenly asks, "Where is Sheng Qian?" At that time, Lee Wenwei mentally taunts Liang Ming and Sheng Qian, saying that they don't even know what it means to work hard and then be forced to run. He's sure they'll meet again, and he admits they made him sweat, but he still feels like he didn't lose. Suddenly, a voice says that he was right. Lee really framed his sixes and ran away on his own. Sheng Qian steps forward, removing his hood. He says that he just assumed this outcome but did not expect that everything would turn out this way. He points out that Lee already took care of him a few days ago. Lee admits defeat and says that Sheng Qian defeated Wu Juli and the others, which means that he has real power. He admits that he did not expect Mr. Shang to be able to calculate everything and catch him, and believes that there is no point in joining the battle. Sheng Qian asks what he means by that. Lai explains that he has 3 million yuan. He originally planned to use them in Shandong. If Sheng Qian lets him go, he will give this money to him. If he is arrested, the money will be confiscated. Sheng Qian admits that the offer sounds tempting. Lee asks if they have a deal. Suddenly, Lee snatches out a small key and throws it at Sheng Qian, shouting, "Die!" Sheng Qian dodges, and the key flies past. Lee is surprised that he dodged. Sheng Qian replies that the throw was too light, but contained destructive power. He says that Lee is treacherous. Although he is stronger, he still attacked surreptitiously. Therefore, Sheng Qian didn't believe him from the start and remained vigilant. Lee grins and says that he underestimated him, but doesn't understand why he should be so careful. He points out that Sheng Qian is only at the first level of martial arts, while he is already at the third level. At this point, an officer and special forces appear. The officer announces that Lee Wenwei is surrounded and must immediately raise his hands and surrender. Lee wonders in shock how they found him so quickly and suspects something went wrong. After the arrest, Sheng Qian greets the officer and praises them for their speed, mentioning that they tracked him using GPS. He adds that this time he helped catch the main criminal and cautiously hints at the reward. The officer replies that he will take this into account. Lee laughs and says that now everything is clear. Sheng Qian sent the police his location immediately after meeting him, which means that he was not going to fight one-on-one in the first place. He asks if Sheng Qian thinks he is the winner and promises that he will soon find out who really won. Sheng Qian replies with a grin that he is looking forward to it. The next day, Sheng family mansion. Wu Jin asks Sheng Qian how much he made from this case. Sheng Qian replies that nothing, neither the police nor Liang Ming's father paid him. He then asks Jin if he knows which job can earn the most money. Wu Jin jokes that maybe being his babysitter means helping around the house, cooking, and cleaning. Sheng Qian says that he still doesn't understand the value, and says that the most lucrative job is teaching martial arts. Wu Jin is surprised. After a while, Wu Jin is back in shape. She is outraged that Sheng Qian didn't pay him earlier because he wanted to open a martial arts school. Sheng Qian replies that this is a business, and that the profit will be large, and asks how much he can earn. Wu Jin is hesitant, saying that he doesn't even know the basics of martial arts and can't teach. Sheng Qian offers him 30% of the school's income. Wu Jin immediately agrees, saying that if you teach only the basics, he can do it. He believes that teaching people to practice martial arts is not so difficult, and adds that if you don't try it, you won't know. Sheng Qian thinks for a second and says that it all sounds a bit strange. Thanks to financial support from the Liang Corporation, Wu Jin started working in the martial arts hall, although it would be more accurate to call it a martial arts improvement center. With the help of PR from the Liang Corporation, the center quickly recruited students. When classes officially started, all the students were satisfied with Wu Jin's teacher. No one doubted that she knew a lot about martial arts, and no one asked too many questions. A month later, Sheng Qian asks Wu Jin to bring him a checkbook. At this moment, Wu Jin is wearing a maid's uniform. She privately thinks that this uniform is very embarrassing for her, but Sheng Qian promised to raise her salary by 20 yuan, so she endures. Wu Jin hands him the book. Sheng Qian calculates income and expenses, utilities, rent of premises. He deduces that the net monthly profit is about 40,000 yuan, which is enough to provide him and Wu Jin with food, clothing, and travel. At that moment, someone calls out to him. Sheng Qian turns around and sees Liang Ming. He jokingly asks if she has come to sponsor their martial arts center and offers to enter. Liang Ming goes straight to the point and delivers a disturbing piece of news. The headmaster wants to expel Sheng Qian. Sheng Qian is surprised. He says that he officially took a vacation from the teacher and asks if this is a joke. He claims that he always followed the rules, did his homework diligently, was a diligent, smart, beautiful, and physically strong student. According to him, they simply can't exclude him. Wu Jin immediately agrees and says that Sheng Qian is really trying very hard, and it is not clear why he can be expelled at all. Liang Ming explains that the director claimed to have violated 13 rules, of which 3 are considered particularly serious. The first is cheating on monthly exams. Sheng Qian replies that the exam has been passed for a long time. and teacher Ling said that he would not focus on it. Liang Ming clarifies, the results of the last exam really decided not to take into account, but the management believes that next time he will cheat again. Sheng Tian is indignant and says that he just felt sorry for Fatty Pan and let him take the first place. He asks if helping a weak student is a bad thing. The second is undermining the school's reputation. We are talking about the fact that Sheng Tian conducted money transactions on the territory of the school. He excuses himself that he did not engage in hooliganism. He bought pills from students and sold his work to the rich. Everything was within the law. He even quips that then we should close the school cafeteria because it also spoils the reputation. Wu Jin pours Liang Ming some water and asks her to calm down. Liang Ming thanks her, noting that Wu Jin is very kind as always. Sheng Tian asks about the third violation. Liang Ming, after taking a sip of water, says that the latest charge is a fight at school with Gao Bo and his classmates. Sheng Tian explains that it wasn't like that. They wanted to beat him up first to curry favor with Sheng Haotian, so he decided to teach them a lesson, recorded everything on a tape recorder, and gave the recording to director Liu. Liang Ming confirms that thanks to this, he helped the police, gained a good reputation, and in the past the school was even proud of him and turned a blind eye to violations. She deduces that someone is deliberately trying to frame Sheng Tian. Sheng Tian immediately guesses that it is Sheng Haotian. Liang Ming confirms, it's him. The Sheng family has some influence over the school, and if Haotian wants to get rid of Sheng Tian, all he has to do is come up with a formal reason. It will be difficult for the school to refuse. Sheng Tian thinks that Haotian has finally made a move. Previously, the other party had looked down on him and hated him, but now, it seemed that his recent actions had made Haotian feel threatened. Liang Ming suggests that we go to school and try to change things. She says that Jiang Chaoyu also supports Sheng Tian's position. He asks Wu Jin to stay and look after the martial arts center while he goes to school with Liang Ming. Wu Jin wishes them good luck. Half a day later, Sheng Tian understands that Haotian really intended to expel him. However, he didn't expect Liang Ming and Jiang Chaoyu to step in. As a result, the exclusion was replaced with a temporary suspension. Liang Ming notes that the difference is not so small. Training is still suspended. She apologizes, saying that even though Sheng Tian saved her earlier, she couldn't return the favor now. Sheng Tian replies that both of them helped him a lot, and that the suspension itself is already a big victory. He says it doesn't matter so much whether he goes to school, he needs a report card to get into college. Liang Ming agrees and adds that Sheng Tian has already reached the full first level of martial arts, and even fighters like the Fierce Beast practitioner are no match for him. Therefore, he doesn't really need to learn the basics anymore. Sheng Tian says his goal is to enter the most prestigious martial arts university in the country. After some time, the Sheng Martial Arts Center is sealed off. The people gathered are gloating, saying that the Martial Arts Association has finally closed this school. They accuse the center of having the lowest E1 certificate from the Liang Corporation, and the teacher had no formal education. Some say that they have long suspected something was wrong. The teacher has a weak body. She did not teach serious techniques, only Tai Chi. One old man even claims that he only went there to look at girls. Liang Ming is furious and calls on the phone and demands an explanation of why the school was just taken and closed. Wu Jin says she heard a commotion outside, went out to look, and saw the center being sealed off. Sheng Tian feels that something is wrong here and assumes that Sheng Haotian is behind it again. Liang Ming says she found out the truth. Yu Song Ye is behind this. She explains that Li Wenwei, whom they arrested, was not the real mastermind of the abduction. Behind him was the real head of Yangbei's underground world, Yu Song Ye. Yu Song Ye is a powerful mobster and has a close relationship with Huang Tiankang, the president of the Martial Arts Association. He was the one who brought the information about the center, and Huang Tian personally ordered the closure of the school. Shensai understands that this is revenge for dealing with Yu Song Ye's people. Liang Ming explains that martial arts centers exist at the expense of proficiency certificates. As long as they don't break the law, there are no problems. But if you complain, the consequences become serious. Without a license, the center will not be able to operate, even if the contract with Lin Corporation is terminated. She adds that a license of the right level is usually obtained after reaching the third level of martial arts, and with Sheng Tian's current skills, it will take a year or a year and a half. Sheng Xian replies that a year and a half is too long and unnecessary. He says that Sheng Haotian thinks he is a worm and is ready to do anything to expel him from school. Yu Song Ye, in turn, used his connections to shut down his center and deprive it of its main source of income. Sheng Qian says he doesn't like it. They don't want to be proud of him and they don't want him to pass the entrance exams, but he can't back down. He has to do it. He concludes that if he was prevented from opening a martial arts center, then he needs to do something bigger. Liang Ming tries to object, but Sheng Qian finishes the thought. If he can't get an E-level certificate alone, then he will definitely not pass the college entrance test. Sheng Xian is lying on his bed at home and calls the system, asking to check the balance of his virtual account. The system reports that there are 30,000 yuan in the account. Sheng Qian understands that this amount is too small to use for serious development. He thinks that he could borrow money from Liang Ming or Zhang Chao and then get 1 or 2 million. But even that is not enough to reach the full first level of the Bloodhawk strike technique. He comes to the conclusion that without additional techniques of the same level, further progress will not be possible. At this point, Woojin reports that she bought all the martial arts books at the secondhand market for just 1,000 yen. Sheng Qian starts reading one of the books, The Iron Fist Technique, and immediately notes that it is useless, since it does not contain information about qi energy, which means that even if the technique is fully mastered, it will not allow you to purify the body. Woojin agrees and adds that there are too many mistakes in the book, and the descriptions are so bad that it is impossible to practice them. Sheng Qian concludes that it is impossible to find any worthwhile techniques in such a market, and that he was too naive. Woojin then turns his attention to another book with an intriguing title, The Divine Art of Transformation. She notes that the introduction is clear and the description is much better than other books. Sheng Qian is initially skeptical of it, believing that the big name hides a common transformation technique. Woojin objects, claiming that this technique is unusual and much better than the standard ones. However, Sheng Qian initially believes that this does not change anything. 15 minutes later, Sheng Qian falls asleep on top of the books, while Woojin continues reading. She discovers that the technique allows you to change your appearance and height at will, and in theory, even copy someone else's appearance, although the author himself did not achieve this. She also notes that the technique is not related to the purification of qi energy, and that most people will not be able to advance beyond the beginner level. Hearing this, Sheng Qian thinks about the possibility of copying someone else's appearance, wakes up abruptly, and asks to give him this book and put the rest in the pantry. Sheng Qian says that now he has enough time to practice, and that he has already come up with a great way to earn money. Sometime later, he finds himself in the financial company Shangxin, reflecting that modern consumer loan companies work more efficiently than banks. However, the employee informs him that due to the credit history of the company, they refused him a loan. Sheng Qian is indignant, pointing out the high approval rate and saying that under such conditions, it is easier for him to contact the bank. Sheng Qian mentions that he found information on the internet about the company's deputy CEO, Li Wenxue, who was recently detained, and emphasizes that it was he who detained him. He suggests that the employee contact the director. After the phone call, the employee changes her tone, asks if he is Sheng Qian from the Sheng family, and apologizes for his behavior. She informs him that the director is waiting for him. Sheng Qian enters the director's office and directly states that he wants a loan of 3 million yuan. The director replies that as Mr. Sheng, he can approve up to 5 million. He explains the conditions. The monthly rate is 6%, the term is 43 months, and if you are late, the percentage is doubled. The money will be credited to your account within 24 hours after signing the agreement. Sheng Qian notes that the interest rate is very high, but thanks the director for his help, after which they shake hands. After Sheng leaves, the headmaster is left alone and thinks that Sheng probably wants to buy a martial arts master's certificate. He thinks disdainfully of Sheng Qian, considering him an outcast of the Sheng family, and decides that if he doesn't return the money within 3 months, he won't hesitate to kill him. Meanwhile, Sheng Qian is laughing on the street, sure that the company would have given him the money anyway, because he is afraid to mess with him. He also notes that the practice director is about his level and decides that next time he will play with him. After a while, Sheng Qian and Woojin find themselves outside the Swedish grill of Yongbei's #1 restaurant. Sheng Qian is relieved to say that he spent 3 whole days recovering at home and finally got out. At this time, the restaurant staff in a panic begin to close the doors, calling them termites, and remembering that just a couple of days ago these people already came. They hurriedly remove the billboard, fearing that it will be eaten again. Sheng Qian wonders if they really scared them so much. Woojin replies that he literally ate everything from them last time, so their fear is understandable. After returning home, Sheng Qian says that after receiving 5 million, the first thing he decided to do was upgrade the Bloodhawk Strike technique to its full level. He still had 2 recovery pills left from the second monthly exam. However, because he didn't attend school, he didn't have the opportunity to obtain high-quality pills. In the black market, even the weakest ones cost about 100,000 yuan, and he reckons that only a complete idiot would buy them for that price. In theory, even a weak pill should be enough to reach the full level of the technique, so he decides to give it a try. Sheng Qian takes the pill and orders the system to raise the level of the Bloodhawk Strike technique to full. The system reports that 3 million yuan has been debited from his account, the promotion has been completed, and the second qi purification process has begun. Sheng Qian speculates that after reaching the first level of martial art and the full level of Hawk, he will finally be able to break through to the second level. However, he had never expected that it would take such a huge amount of energy to complete the technique, and the weak pill was clearly not enough. In a state of extreme hunger, Sheng Qian goes so far as to try to eat from the toilet, and Woojin screams in horror that this is not allowed. He says he's too hungry. In the end, Woojin thankfully decides to knock him out with a frying pan, thus saving his reputation. Then she takes him to a restaurant to recover. Sheng Qian is already sitting at the table, awkwardly saying that maybe they shouldn't come here so often, because the employees are already starting to hide from them. Woojin replies that he was so hungry back then that she had no choice, and if she hadn't brought him here, there's no telling what would have happened to him. Woojin reminds her that she has paid the bill and demands that Sheng Qian remember to return the money to her. He is surprised that she even writes down such a small thing as a loan to him. She calmly replies that money doesn't fall from the sky, and even 68 yuan is money. Later, they end up at a Chinese restaurant called Liangji. Sheng Qian tells Wu Jin to order whatever she wants, since he pays. Wu Jin replies that he could only order a couple of dishes, not so much, and it would be a pity if they couldn't eat everything. Sheng Qian says that this is his gratitude for the help. Wu Jin points out that he could just pay her the money, but Sheng says the food comes first. Sheng Qian notices that Wu Jin isn't eating and asks what happened. She immediately realizes that this whole dinner is not just for nothing, and demands that he tell her what he needs from her, immediately warning that she will not lend him money. Sheng Qian assures her that he doesn't need the money and asks her to teach him the divine transformation technique. He admits that he spent 3 days trying to master it on his own, but could not even reach the initial level. He pours her a drink and addresses her as a teacher. Wu Jin replies that she will help him as long as he doesn't ask her for money. She happily starts eating and says that it is quite easy to reach the initial level of this technique, but if you do not continue to develop it, it will be easier to go to a plastic surgeon. She also emphasizes that the theory of copying someone else's appearance is just a guess of the author, since he himself has not reached the full level of technology. Sheng Qian replies that he has a few ideas and all she needs is help with the basics. Wu Jin asks why he needs this technique in the first place, and if he's going to open a plastic surgery clinic for a living. Shen reproaches her for thinking only about money and declares that he has a much cooler idea. 2 days later, the system reports that a new technique for exalting the divine transformation technique has been discovered, and the opportunity to level up with cryptocurrency has been opened. Sheng Qian is glad that his efforts were not in vain, and he was afraid that the system wouldn't recognize this technique at all. He clarifies that since there was no mention of qi energy in the book, it means that the pills will not be needed. The system confirms that the technique is not related to qi energy and does not require it, but after full elevation, the practitioner will not be able to start the process of refining qi energy to increase the level of martial arts. Sheng Qian is happy that he won't have to spend money on pills and asks how much the promotion costs. The system is responsible for 10,000 yuan for the entry level, 200,000 for the intermediate level, and 1,400,000 for the full level. Sheng Qian is indignant, considering the price too high for a technique that does not even purify qi energy, but understands that in order to implement his plan, it is necessary to fully master it. He orders the system to raise the level of the divine transformation technique to full. The system debits the required amount and completes the promotion. Sheng Qian feels very dizzy and understands that the load of this technique is much higher than from hand-to-hand combat and Bloodhawk strike, so he needs a break. He makes sure that the 1,400,000 yuan spent was not in vain, as now he can freely change the muscles, bones, hair, skin color, and other body characteristics. Sheng Qian reflects that he can easily turn even into a freak, and he wonders if his face will change if he tries to take on someone else's appearance. He notes that he is now able to change the shape of his face, voice, and body stiffness at will, as described in the book. Deciding to put it to the test, he goes to look for Wu Jin and loudly calls her, offering to test his 72 transformation techniques from Old Man Sheng. Sheng Qian reflects that after investigating for 2 days, he was able to find out the daily activities of Director Zhang of the Sun Xin Company. His plan was simple: take the director by surprise and force him to hand over all the documentation to the company. Then he won't have to worry about his debt anymore, and the most the director can do is call the police. Soon, Director Zhang was driving his car when he suddenly braked abruptly. A man was standing right in the road, blocking the way. Shang San made a mental note that he didn't care what happened to this headmaster. It was all because of Sheng Haotian. The director got out of the car in a rage. He shouted if Tom was tired of life, accused him of impudence for blocking the road, and demanded to show his face. Then, he coldly stated that he would face his death today, after ripping off his hands. The headmaster charged forward, attacking Sheng Qian, who was in a different form. In response, Sheng Qian kicked the director right in the face with a powerful kick. The director recoiled and admitted that the opponent was strong and also a martial artist. He realized that the man hadn't come for the money, so he asked him what he really wanted. At this moment, Sheng Dian took off his mask. His face was that of Yu Sang-ye. The headmaster uttered the name in horror. Sheng Qian wondered inwardly. Why did he call him Yu Sang-ye? Did he recognize Hao Tian? The next thing he knew, it couldn't be. He spoke coldly, asking if the headmaster still didn't recognize his Yu Sang-ye. At that moment, Sheng Qian realized the truth. He had never imagined that Yu Sang-ye and Sheng Haotian were the same person. The director's face instantly changed. He hurriedly spoke up, calling him San-ye, assuring him that of course he would recognize him, and asking what had happened and why he had appeared so suddenly. Sheng Qian cut him off abruptly, mentally racking his brain for how to explain everything without giving himself away. The director immediately assumed that it was about a business in Yangnan, and expressed a lack of understanding as to why it wasn't possible to discuss it over the phone. Sheng Qian confirmed briefly, noting to himself that the director himself had given him a convenient explanation. They got in the car and drove off. Sheng Qian decided to keep the conversation to a minimum and not show any emotion, letting the headmaster speak for himself. The headmaster thought that Sang Ye was acting mysterious as usual. He began to report that after being ordered to control the turnover of funds in Yangnan City, he had gradually taken up the matter. Sheng Qian replied curtly, marveling inwardly that Hao Tian's influence had already spread to the south. The director explained that the situation in Yangnan is different from Yangbei, where the government has tightened control over the economy, but assured that with his experience, everything is under control. Sheng Qian said that he believed him, and once again thought about how frighteningly fast Sheng Haotian had become the leader of the underground market in 2 cities at once in 2 years. He specified exactly what the director had already done. The director replied that, as the head of the Sun Shin Company, it would take him at least half a year to fully complete the case, and added that without leadership, everything would quickly fall apart. At the same time, he said that he collected all the important documents and carries them with him. Hearing this, Sheng Qian asked if he really had all the documents with him. The director confirmed and said that with them, anyone will be able to sort out all the company's affairs in a week. He added that he was going to hand them over tomorrow, but since Song Ye had personally arrived, the matter was extremely important, and he would hand over the documents right away. Inwardly, the headmaster decided that Sang Ye still didn't fully trust him, so he came personally. He was confident that this time he had prepared perfectly and would earn his full trust. Sheng Qian praised him, calling him Xiaozhang, and remarked that he had done a great job. Inwardly, he was glad. He didn't even have to invent anything. The director himself gave everything directly into his hands. The headmaster, on the other hand, was confident that he would now be Sun Ye's right-hand man. Sheng Qian then ordered the suspension of business in Yangnan, stating that he had a more important task. The director was surprised, but listened. Sheng Qian said it was a top-secret mission. He mentioned that he had heard rumors of surveillance, and he suspected that even his phone might have been tracked. The director immediately understood why Sang Ye was acting so cautiously. Sheng Qian stressed that the matter was extremely serious, and he couldn't afford to be careless in the slightest. He then outlined the task. The director must secretly enter the Longxing Park construction site in Longxing City, maintain complete anonymity, pretend to be an ordinary worker, do bricks and construction work, do not contact anyone, and do not reveal his identity. In 10 or 15 days, he will personally fly there and give the next task. He also ordered not to use the phone and not to contact anyone. The director swore that he would destroy the SIM card and throw away the phone, and as long as Sang Ye didn't personally appear, Xiaozhang would cease to exist in this world. Sheng Qian didn't hesitate to entrust him with the task. He personally watched Xiaozhang destroy the phone along with the SIM card, then put it on a plane and sent it directly to Longxing City. Seeing him off, Sheng Qian thought that wanting such a big director to hide his name was his weakness, and as compensation, it will help him become famous. Sheng Qian, after changing his appearance and taking on the appearance of Director Zhang, appeared at the bank's office. He said hello calmly, and the staff responded politely, mistaking him for the real director. Without arousing suspicion, he went into the principal's office and locked the door behind him. Outside, the staff discussed the strangeness of his behavior, noting that the director is usually always annoyed, especially after the recent incident with Xiao Li, who ate his breakfast without permission. However, no one suspected the substitution. Left alone, Sheng Qian noted with satisfaction that the disguise had worked. He contacted the employees on the intercom and strictly ordered them not to enter the office or disturb him under any circumstances for the next 2 hours, no matter what sounds they might hear. The employees agreed without any objections. After that, Sheng Qian mockingly declared that it was time to get acquainted with the treasures and went to the safe that he had noticed earlier. He tried to remember the password that he had once heard from the director, and after a while he was able to pick it up and open the safe. Inside, he found a large amount of high-grade pills, gold, silver, and other valuables. There wasn't much cash, but there were plenty of bank cards. Sheng Qian tried to use the system to transfer money to his own account, but the system reported that the cash belongs to other people and can only be converted if the owner has direct contact with the money, and the amounts on bank cards are too large and belong to outsiders, so their transfer is impossible. Annoyed, Sheng Mian chided the system for its constant restrictions, and then decided to at least convert the cash. The system detected an amount of 20,000 yuan that didn't belong to the host, and notified that it would take 100 minutes to complete the conversion. With the current process of 1%, Sheng Qian decided to put the money in his pocket temporarily. An hour and a half passed. There were strange noises coming from the director's office, but the staff reminded each other of the director's strict order and the consequences of disobeying, so no one dared to enter. At this time, Sheng Qian, being in the office, reported that he had completely completed the destruction of all company documents, paper contracts, files on computers, data on internal and cloud servers, as well as accreditation documents. He also noted that he managed to collect a significant amount of incriminating materials on the Sun Shin Company and saved evidence and important contracts for the flash drive. However, he knew that to completely destroy this company, one more step must be taken. Sheng Xian recorded and posted a confession on the internet on behalf of Zhang Xin. In it, he said that the Sun Shin Company, masquerading as a financial institution, is actually engaged in criminal activities. It forces debtors to take nude photos and publishes them, and men in case of disobedience cut off their limbs, and after death, their bodies are tied up and thrown into the river. He said that he could not stand it any longer, that all the loan agreements and compromising material had already been posted online, and everyone could get acquainted with them. He also admitted that he was guilty, but the true source of evil is the leader of the Yangbei underground market, Yu Sang-ye, whose real name is Sheng Haotian, the current heir of the Sheng family. This video was seen by Sheng Haotian himself, who was shown it by a servant. The servant tried to reassure the master, saying that there was no direct proof of his identity, and that the Sheng family had already started fixing the problem. In a few days, the video would disappear. However, they soon received a call saying that the situation was serious. All the documents about the Sun Xin company were published, and the evidence was found to be strong. The news became the most discussed and took first place in the list of hot topics, and the company itself was closed. Yu Sangye coldly asked where Zhang Xin was. The servant replied that no one had seen him for 3 days and that he was probably in hiding. Yu Sangye ended the call, opened the door, and left with an order. Within 3 months, find Zhang Xin and bring him his corpse. Meanwhile, in Longxing, Zhang Xin was hiding out, working on a construction site, hauling bricks. He reflected that sadness and difficulties make people work harder, and no one would have thought that the former CEO would be in such a position. Despite this, he was determined to get Yu Sangye's confession and exposure. After a while, Sheng Tian was in his mansion, in the flower garden. He noted with satisfaction that Xiao Zhang's company was finished, and now no one would come because of his debts. He enjoyed a debt-free life and a carefree existence. After that, Sheng Tian slammed his hand on the stone and was surprised to realize that he had managed to do it. Just focusing the energy in his fingertips was enough. The system reported that the concept of the Blood Hawk Strike technique has been unlocked and that the second level is available, as well as the opportunity to use funds to improve it. Sheng Dan noted that this technique was not suitable for practice. Even with the first level of martial arts, it would take him half a month to raise the second level in the normal way. He decided to use the results of the system and asked how much the promotion would cost. The system replied that upgrading the Blood Hawk Strike technique to beginner level costs 40,000 yuan, advanced level costs 400,000 yuan, and full level costs 4 million yuan. Sheng Qian cursed, noting that earning this kind of money wasn't easy at all. He remembered that Mr. Zhang, in addition to a small amount of cash, had precious jewelry that was worth more than 4 million, and decided to use the pills he found. He noted with a sneer that these pills were meant for Hao Tian, and started taking them to recuperate. Sheng Qian ordered the system to upgrade the Blood Hawk Strike technique to a full second level. The system reported that 4,440,000 yuan has been debited, the second level has been obtained, and the next stage is the purification of internal qi. Sheng Qian ruefully noted that he was almost a beggar again, and only had 20,000 yuan left, but after hitting the stone, he said that it was worth it. A hole was made in the stone, and a small fire appeared. He realized that this was already the third level after feeling a noticeable increase in his strength, and noted that this feeling was not at all like the second level. Sheng Xian said that his next step will be to get a license. It goes on to explain that a martial arts master's certificate is issued by the government and has different levels. For example, an E-level license 1 is a junior master's certificate. Such certificates give privileges, housing, medical care, car purchase, and monthly state bonuses depending on the level. Wu Jin asked Sheng Qian where she could get such a certificate. He replied that the exam takes place in 2 stages, registration and real battle from the 10th to the 15th of each month in the city's martial arts association. In Yangbei City, only an E-level certificate is available, but that's enough for him. The Yangbei Association was first registered. A special measuring device tested heart activity, muscle density, bone strength, and fluctuations in vital energy. The employee reported that all indicators reached the minimum requirements for the third level. Sheng Qian explained to Wu Jin that registration was only necessary to prevent fraud, and that he had passed it easily since nothing suspicious was found on him. Wu Jin admitted that it would be impossible for an ordinary person like her to reach the third level. Sheng Qian explained that on the 15th, he would be assigned an examiner with the same level, the fight would be recorded on camera, and a certificate would be issued if he could withstand 30 blows. At this moment, he felt that someone was following him, but he didn't think much of it as he recalled Liang Ming's words about Yu Sangye and Yang Bei's association. In the evening, Hao Tian was at the Da Jiao barbecue with a man who stated that he had long advised letting his people control the Sun Xin company. The man received a phone call saying that Sheng Qian had registered for the E-certificate alone. He relayed this information to Hao Tian, noting that a few days ago, Sheng Qian was weak and couldn't even fight properly, and it was impossible to reach the third level in such a short time. However, he promised that Sheng Qian would not receive the certificate easily, as he would be pressured to do so by the rules during the match. He decided to send the madman Wu Lian, level 3, but with real combat experience to fight. The next day, at Sheng Qian's mansion, Wu Jin complained about the noise in the morning. Sheng Xian reminded her that he had an exam, prepared 2 breakfasts, and made fun of her. Wu Jin noticed that today was the 14th, and the exam was supposed to be on the 15th, but Sheng Qian didn't discuss it. In the exam, one by one, the participants flew out of the arena, unable to withstand the required number of blows. Judge Wu Liang harshly criticized the examinees for their lack of combat experience. People were outraged that it was he who became the judge, as he fought at full strength. The association's director was worried that too few people would pass the exam, but Wu Liang refused to lower the requirements. Sheng Qian, meanwhile, was looking for an arena and mistakenly came to the wrong place. The Yangbei exam ended without his participation, and the principal realized that Sheng Qian probably took it in another city. It was later revealed that he had passed the Yangnan exam. Sheng Qian walked with Wu Jin and reported that he had successfully passed the exam and would receive an E1 certificate within a month. He explained that Yangbei's association was in cahoots with Yusongye, so he specifically chose a different city since the associations all over the country are connected. Huang reported to Hao Tian about the failure of the plan. Hao Tian replied that they couldn't interfere with the exam, but now their real confrontation begins. After that, he took the mirror, and the system activated the Sky system. After a while, in a hangar near the factory, Hao Tian was fighting an unknown opponent. Outside, the sounds of a fierce fight could be heard. When the fight was over, Hao Tian, wiping his sweat, noted that this robot is able to transform the appearance well, but its main drawback is the lack of human consciousness. He also added that the robot's strength was equivalent to that of a level 5 martial artist, and this time the merchant hadn't deceived him. Then the past is revealed. 2 years ago, Sheng Haotian was a useless practitioner who was constantly bullied, a useless child. At the same time, Sheng Qian, without any skills, was the heir to the Sheng family's fortune. Everything changed when Haotian suddenly became a martial arts genius. However, he clarifies that this was not due to him. Every night on the 15th, when the moon is full, the celestial exchange system is automatically activated, allowing you to trade. Trade takes place in the form of barter, using resources from different worlds. For creatures from other worlds, gold and jewelry are not as valuable as, for example, chili peppers or furniture. Most of all, they are interested in unique items from this world, recovery pills or martial arts techniques. Haotian had been tricked into offering useless items more than once during his numerous transactions. Sometimes he cheated others, but in 2 years he had acquired many valuable things. He looks at his things and notices that some of them have special effects. However, he is confused by the huge charging station in the form of a key. He orders the transformation master to return to his original form and wonders why such a small lock would need such a large key. He also remembers that the first time an item is activated, it binds to one host and stays in its form until someone else activates it. Meanwhile, the head of the Sheng family summons Hao Tian. The father informs that his useless brother has received an E-certificate 1, and he plans to return it to the family. Asks if there are any objections. Hao Tian replies that if the decision has already been made, he has nothing to add. The father then mentions the rumors that Hao Tian killed someone and assigned his subordinates to work through the company, and also recalls that the San Sin company, with which the family had many contracts, was arrested. He accuses his son of setting up accomplices to seize property and slaps him in the face. The father emphasizes that as long as he is alive, the Sheng family belongs to him, and Hao Tian can only use what he is allowed. Without permission, he is not allowed to act. Hao Tian admits his greed and promises that this won't happen again. His father tells him to leave and reminds him that he is just a handy tool. Meanwhile, a messenger arrives at Sheng Qian's house on behalf of the head of the family to congratulate him on receiving the E1 certificate. Sheng Qian replies that there is nothing to be happy about. A low-level certificate is not worthy of the Sheng family, so he will leave everything as it is. The messenger asks to understand the head of the family and his position. Sheng Qian replies that he knows that being the heir of the Sheng family is difficult because everyone is watching every step. He wonders if his father was worried about his safety when he wasn't a martial artist. The messenger says that the head of the family immediately sent him to see Sheng Qian as soon as he learned of his success. Sheng Qian asks what will happen to Sheng Haotian if he returns. They tell him that they will compete for the place of the heir. The messenger informs us that the head of the family is turning 50 next week, and at the banquet, he will personally announce the return of Sheng Qian to the family. Sheng Qian agrees to come. After the messenger leaves, Wu Jin notices that his father is calculating. Sheng Qian says that when he didn't have any abilities, he was kicked out, and now that the power has appeared, he is accepted with open arms. He remembers his father's words about calculating everything and not hanging around with the poor. In his memories, his father banishes him from the family, promising to send him 1,000 yuan a month so that he will not starve to death. Sheng Tian reflects that his father's love is too weak compared to his attachment to the family's wealth. Wu Jin points out that for a family like this, it doesn't matter if he comes back or not. Sheng Xian replies that if he doesn't come back, the Sheng family's huge money will go to someone else. In his mind, he knows that his father wants him to go back and fight Sheng Haotian. He admits that he doesn't want to go back, but he doesn't want Haotian to get everything. He'll put it to better use. In a few days, a grand banquet is being held at the Sheng family mansion. Sheng Gang drinks red wine and speaks ill of it, saying that next time he will try white. Everyone around him flatters him, congratulates him on his promotion to director, and points out that it's all thanks to Mr. Haotian. Guests discuss how getting close to an influential person can quickly increase their status. Some people point out that most of the people present are employees of the company or children of rich families connected to the Sheng family, and that without them, Hao Tian would not have been approached. One of the men hints that you should not completely trust Hao Tian. Meanwhile, Sheng Gang complains that his tie is choking him. The conversation mentions Zhang Ze and Li Ran, elderly people who worked for the Sheng family for 20 years, and says that they should have been destroyed. Sheng Qian is privately indignant that Hao Tian just got rid of them. The guests continue to suck up to Sheng Gang, hinting that he should be the one to hand over the family. At this point, Sheng Qian appears and calls him rotten egg. Sheng Gang is indignant, but when he finds out who is in front of him, he abruptly changes his tone and addresses him respectfully. Sheng Qian ironically points out that Sheng Gang became a director during his 2-year absence and asks if he achieved this with his abilities. Guests whisper, it was rumored that Sheng Qian was expelled from the family due to his inability to practice martial arts, but now he's back with a license. Sheng Gang himself thinks that Sheng Qianyu will not take the place of the heir, while Hao Tian takes it. The head of the family, Sheng Qian's father, comes on stage and thanks the guests for coming to the banquet on the occasion of his 50th birthday. He announces that his son, who was sent for intensive training, has recently received an E1 certificate and is returning to the family. This is Sheng Qian. He calls his son over, raises his hand, and officially announces his return. The guests discuss that the family used to have to hire martial artists for a lot of money, and now, if two geniuses, Sheng Qian and Sheng Haotian, come together, the family will become great again. But the question arises, two tigers will not get along on the same mountain. Who will become the heir? The head of the family declares a condition. The heir will be the one who first reaches the bloodline brain state. The guests are starting to choose sides. Most are leaning towards Hao Tian, as he has been running the company for a long time, but some are considering supporting Sheng Qian. Sheng Qian speculates that his father is deliberately pushing him against Hao Tian. He notices that his father looks older and probably ill, but he still pretends to be fine. He also notices Uncle Wu's absence and feels ignored. Hao Tian approaches him and offers to talk to him. They go into the room. Hao Tian wonders how Sheng Qian progressed so quickly in cultivation. Before, he was at the full first level, and now he is already at the third. He suspects that he got something. Sheng Qian evades the direct answer, giving an ironic example about a man who found a fairy ring, and says that many things in the world are inexplicable. Suddenly, there are shouts from outside. Catch the killer! Sheng Qian is a beast! Hao Tian tries to punch Sheng Qian, but Sheng Qian stops his fist and demands an explanation. Hao Tian shouts while pointing at him. People rush into the room and accuse Sheng Qian of murdering the head of the family. Sheng Qian is shocked and asks, "What? The old man is dead?" After being accused of murder, Hao Tian pretends not to understand what is happening, and Sheng Qian asks what happened to his father. Sheng Gang blames Sheng Qian. He says that the head of the family brought him back to the house to help him out of difficulties, but because of the resentment of the exile, he killed his own father right in front of everyone. He dramatically states that Mr. Sheng worked for the company all his life, survived many assassination attempts, but eventually died at the hands of his own son. Sheng Qian is shocked and doesn't understand what's going on. Hao Tian calls him an animal and throws him against the wall. He says that even though the banishment was cruel, their father was still their parent, and asks how Sheng Qian could not forgive him. The guests begin to denounce Sheng Qian, claiming that he hated his father for being exiled and therefore killed him. Sheng Xian wonders, he's been here all along. Why is everyone so sure that he's the killer? Hao Tian claims that his father allowed Sheng Qian to return so that he could become a candidate for the heir. Otherwise, Hao Tian would have to protect him all his life. The crowd decides that Sheng Qian was afraid of defeat and therefore went to the murder. Sheng Qian himself notices that Hao Tian's behavior is strange today and realizes that he can't stay. Hao Tian orders the house surrounded, mentions the pool outside, and tells them to call for backup. In his mind, he admits that he deliberately chose this room to hit Sheng Qian in the direction of the window and allow him to escape, thereby securing the blame for him. Sheng Qian jumps out of the window and falls into the pool. Hao Tian pretends to resent the escape, but thinks that Sheng Qian is now completely disgraced and doomed. He gives orders, Sheng Gang to send people to search, Sheng Yang to contact director Huang Tiantang from the Martial Arts Association. He himself says that he will go to his father. 15 minutes later, Sheng Gang informs us that the person cannot be resurrected, but we need to take control of the situation. Hao Tian laments significantly and says that he hasn't made Sheng Qian pay yet. He states that since no heir has been appointed, he is temporarily taking over the leadership and asking everyone to obey his orders. At this point, the head of the family suddenly speaks up. He is alive. It turns out that he was expecting an assassination attempt and pretended to be dead in order to avoid real death. The guests are amazed and praise his foresight. Hao Tian is inwardly shocked, but outwardly happy. He continues to accuse Sheng Qian, claiming that he almost got his way. In his mind, he worries if his father has guessed about his involvement. The head of the family claims that he was warned in advance by a person, Sheng Qian. Therefore, he couldn't have been the killer. Otherwise, how would he have ended up in two places at once? He orders the discussion to stop and says that the real puppet master is among them. He gives the guilty person a chance to confess, promising to reduce the sentence. Then he asks me to show him the second body, the deceased double who died in his place. Sheng Gang reports that the body is in the wine cellar. The head of the family orders everyone to stay in the mansion until the investigation is over. Otherwise, the consequences will be serious. In the wine cellar, it is revealed that Sheng Qian has been reincarnated back into his real body. He reflects, although his father was cruel, he still showed sympathy for him. He didn't think that his death would touch him, but now he feels pain. Looking at his father's body, he says that although he is not the only son, he has only one father. He finds Hao Tian's behavior extremely suspicious. He has no proof of his guilt, but he decides that he doesn't need proof. After that, Sheng Qian reincarnates again, this time in the body of his father, and declares that all he needs is the death of Hao Tian. The trial continues upstairs. One of the men informs me that Mr. Sheng is here. Hao Tian tries to convince his father that everything is the work of Sheng Qian. Everyone has seen him, there can be no mistake, and asks not to be deceived. The guests support him, claiming that they saw with their own eyes a tall man without a beard with an E1 license. This is exactly what Sheng Qian was. They ask the head of the family to let them go. My father abruptly silences everyone, saying that he doesn't want people who point fingers thoughtlessly. Those present recall that on normal days, he seems calm, but it was his rigidity that made the Sheng family influential. The head of the family asks where Hao Tian has been all this time. He replies that he was upstairs and could not help. His father calls it a lie and smashes a bottle of red wine in his face, saying that he gave him a chance to confess. He turns to Wu Yun and Fang Ping, who are in charge of security, and asks why they arrived so late. They explain that Hao Tian reported on the alleged hired competitors of martial artists, which is why they went to check the territory, and also on his orders accompanied the guests who left the banquet ahead of time. Other guards confirm that they have received orders from Shenggang and Shenyang to leave their posts. The father deduces that after the accident, only these two were chasing Sheng Qian, and declares that their loyalty is not proven to the Sheng family, but to Sheng Hao Tian. He says he must have been too kind to his son. Hao Tian tries to justify himself, claiming that this is a trap of Sheng Qian, and you need to catch him first. In his mind, he confesses that he was counting on the old man's death to seize power and put the blame on Qian. My father blames him directly. He wanted to kill both his father and brother for the sake of the inheritance. The guests are shocked and start to believe that Hao Tian is behind everything. At this moment, Uncle Wu uses a death grip on Hao Tian, restraining him. Hao Tian insists that there is no proof. The father replies that in the Sheng family, his words are already proof, and orders Hao Tian to be deprived of the opportunity to escape first, and then interrogate him. Hao Tian realizes that he can't stand up to the bloodline master, so he decides to use his trump card teleportation. A bright light flashes in the room. Those present are blinded, and when their vision returns, Hao Tian disappears. Uncle Wu doesn't understand how this is possible. He activates the blood search skill, but he can't sense Hao Tian within a kilometer. The father deduces that he was able to instantly move more than a kilometer and wonders if he has the ability to teleport. The head of the family orders Fang Ping to stay and calm down the guests, and Wu Yunwu to follow him. Outside, he claims that Hao Tian went to the lengths of murdering his father and brother for the sake of the title of heir. He orders them to inform the police, issue a search warrant, and shoot to kill if they resist. He also orders Shenggang and Shenyang to be detained and interrogated as accomplices. The body of the deceased doppelganger was ordered to be preserved and buried later, after Hao Tian's capture. On the way up to the second floor, the father reflects that Hao Tian still has many secrets. He wonders how Tom managed to escape right in front of Uncle Wu's eyes. Teleportation, stealth, or super speed. He decides to search Hao Tian's room for clues. Sheng Qian, who has returned to his real body, realizes that Hao Tian's room has not yet been completely searched, and there may be important clues left behind. He opens the drawer and finds a book. Looking through the records, he reads that on the 14th of April, Hao Tian bought a teleportation amulet with the ability to use it 3 times, but without an exact destination. He also acquired about 100 different talismans with special properties. The entry from the 13th of July talks about buying a liquid metal robot with a shape-shifting function and strength comparable to a 5th-level master. Shang San wonders if this robot killed his father, and wonders where Hao Tian was able to acquire such items. The book mentions the divine exchange system through which purchases were made, and also says that due to poor communication, it was necessary to buy a plot of land on the outskirts of the city. Shang San understands that Hao Tian also has his own system. They ask their own system if there are any other systems. The system responds that it is the only one tied to the host's soul in this world, but other worlds have similar systems. The number of them is unknown, and information is limited. When asked about the origin of the system, it says that it appeared in this world 19 years ago, at the time of Sheng Qian's birth, and was created in his body. It also explains that systems are connected to the sources of other worlds and their laws. Shang San deduces that the system appeared with him at birth and came from another world. It asks about the functions of other systems and compares them with its own, but the system responds that it does not have access to such information and is not a copycat. It emphasizes that its functions are unique within the laws of this world. Realizing that it is impossible to directly find out Hao Tian's location through the system, Sheng Qian decides to act differently. He changes back into his father's body and orders the driver, Hao Tian, to be brought in. He recalls that every month, Hao Tian went to an unknown destination for a few days and once left a mark in the navigator, an abandoned plot on the outskirts. In the evening, the father with security arrives at this abandoned factory. It turns out that the plot was bought by Hao Tian through a company. Wu Yun checks the area and doesn't sense the presence of the masters, but notices a strange door that is reinforced so that even his blow can't damage it. Sheng Xian understands that this is an item from another world, acquired through the divine exchange system. He sends the guards back, explaining that he wants to be alone. In fact, he wants to get rid of unnecessary witnesses so that he can explore the place himself. After they leave, he returns to his real body and tries to open the door in various ways, saying different names, but to no avail. Then he reincarnates as Sheng Hao Tian and goes to the door. There is a sound. Identity verification successful, and the door opens. Inside, he discovers a large number of valuable items, weapons, talismans, and rare items purchased through the exchange system. He understands that over the years, Hao Tian has accumulated an impressive arsenal. However, he suddenly realizes that he forgot to close the door and notices a man who looks exactly like himself. Sheng Qian, who was in Hao Tian's body, approached the robot and said that this thing looked just like himself and that the robot was already serious. The robot replied that the master had returned an hour earlier than scheduled. Sheng Qian flinched, said that he was scared, and almost forgot that he was now in the form of Sheng Hao Tian. The robot reported 34% charge remaining and asked if it could recharge. Sheng Qian allowed it and thought that the robot looked very much like him. He noted that the robot still needs to be charged and that this thing is not so easy to use. The robot asked for the order. Sheng Qian pondered what to order, deciding that the previous owner was smart. He said that the owner has a bad memory and asked me to remind you what was ordered last time. After 15 minutes, Sheng Qian decided to return to his real form, saying that it was more convenient. Already in his body, he thought it was a good thing that the key was so big. It wouldn't be convenient for Hao Tian to carry it around, so he left it here. He noted that the robot with artificial intelligence is not yet fully completed and recognizes only the face. Then he came up with a way to take the form of the previous owner and transfer ownership to himself. He couldn't believe that Sheng Hao Tian had secretly returned to Yangbei. He ordered the robot to go back and wait for instructions, estimating that it would arrive in about half an hour. Sheng Qian thought that he should call Uncle Wu. There was still time for them to return. But if Grandpa Wu found out about this, there would be a lot of secrets to uncover, so he should carefully calculate everything. In the end, he decided that it was better to handle this situation alone. Besides, even though the old man wasn't a good father, he had to personally avenge him. At this time, Sheng Hao Tian was standing at the gate and said that he had finally returned. He mentioned the teleport amulet, a useful thing, but with a drawback. You can't set a transfer point. This is inconvenient. It was a good thing he hadn't been thrown into outer space, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to return. Unfortunately, he botched all 3 attempts. The gate reported, identification successful. Hao Tian noted that the robot has already returned, which is great. As long as he could use his resources, he would be able to regain his power. He said that the device has great power, equivalent to a 5th-level master, but due to the limitations of artificial intelligence, it cannot return to its original form. He ordered, "Get your uniform back, damn it! I hate seeing that Sheng Qian." Then he wondered. He hadn't opened the door. How did the robot get in? At this moment, the robot suddenly attacked Hao Tian. He swore and asked if the robot had gone mad. The robot announced, target captured, activation of pursuit missiles. The rocket launch began. Hao Tian ended up on the floor, and the robot jumped to hit him. Hao Tian used a protection item. The robot lunged at him again. Shouts could be heard from the street. After some time, the robot, lying on the floor, reported a low battery and asked to recharge it on time. Hao Tian, panting heavily, didn't understand why the robot was suddenly attacking him. He decided that next time, he would ask the scammer who sold him the item, and regretted using the precious protection talisman because of this trash. He said something was wrong here. Someone had done it. At that moment, Sheng Qian came out. He was wearing smart boots that give an increase in the speed and strength of the jump, with the function of changing the appearance. He also wore a cloak that allowed him to float in the air for a short time, reducing the force of gravity. In his hands, he held a magic scepter that generates electricity in the form of charges. Sheng Qian said that Hao Tian was lucky that the robot didn't kill him. He added that it was a pity that all of Hao Tian's talismans had lost their power because of this, and offered to fight fair. Hao Tian recognized him. Sheng Qian soared into the air and thought he would be very happy after killing Hao Tian with his own things. He struck the first blow. "I thought that now I understood what I really wanted." He said, "Hao Tian, I just want to fight to the death." There was a loud explosion in the hangar. Hao Tian scoffed, asking if he was exhausted, and reminded that these items were all his, and no one would be able to use them effectively. He said it was his turn. Sheng Qian threw down the scepter, saying that it was discharged. Hao Tian jumped at him. Sheng Qian also threw away his shoes and cloak. He punched Hao Tian in the face, saying that he would finish him off with his own hands, and that hitting him was more pleasant than playing with his trinkets. Hao Tian used a move. Sheng Qian thought that he wasn't badly injured. He was used to long battles. His energy and willpower were normal, and perhaps he could fight on equal terms, but he won't let me now. Sheng Qian threw an unbreakable punch at Hao Tian's chest and grabbed him by the throat, lifting him up. He recalled how he had wandered the streets, how he had given him 200,000 yuan to keep him alive. Then he recalled how their roles had been reversed and how Hao Tian had repaid him by sending people to mock him. He abandoned Hao Tian and said that it was because he was ungrateful, that he was an older brother, and that Hao Tian constantly wanted to kill him. He kept throwing punches for disrespecting his older brother. Hao Tian thought it was impossible. He had reached the 3rd level, fought thousands of real battles, trained on mannequins bought through the system from a merchant from another world, perfected his martial technique and the tiger's claw. Sheng Qian pointed out that he had subdued the underground world of Yangbei and founded a credit company that had harmed many people. Hao Tian didn't understand why he couldn't fight back anyway. He said not to pretend to be noble. Sheng Qian hit him again for not knowing when to stop. He said the old man brought it back to warn him about it. If you want to be the heir, you need to know the limits. You can love money but not be greedy and not get it dishonestly. He struck again, for lack of remorse. He accused Hao Tian of bringing items from other worlds, wanting to kill his father and blame it on him. If he didn't possess the divine transformation technique and couldn't take on his father's form, the plan would have succeeded. But in the end, the old man is dead. He survived many attempts, but was betrayed by his own son. Hao Tian laughed and said that if the old man was really dead, fine, he should have died long ago. Sheng Tian replied that the old man wasn't a good person, and he hated him himself. If Hao Tian had just beaten him up, he would have approved, but the latter had killed him for the sake of the property. Sheng Tian was dealt another blow. For being an unworthy son and committing so many crimes, he said the old man paid for his sins. Sheng Tian stands over Hao Tian's body and says that he felt sad and wonders when he became so restless. He wasn't like this before. Suddenly, Hao Tian's body starts to glow. Sheng Tian is surprised. Instead of the body, a mirror appears. He says it is a mirror and suggests that perhaps this is the divine exchange system. The mirror shakes and he asks if it wants to escape. He goes to his system asking what's wrong with this thing. The system responds that the mirror has inherited its opponent's sense of fear. Sheng Qian jokes that he is handsome and asks what it is afraid of. The system explains that this system is connected to the host's soul, and as long as it looks at him, it sees it, his system. Sheng Qian asks if she's afraid of his system. The system confirms it. Sheng Qian deduces that even though his system is created in their world, its level is different from others. The system says that it is a concept of the laws of systems from another world, born from the source in the host's body, and that it is only a copycat. Sheng Qian calls the system Xiaozi and says that they are like a family, and even if someone offers him a real divine exchange system, he will not exchange it. He asks if the bronze mirror is a divine exchange system. After all, the system previously said that it needed permission to obtain information. The system responds that the information may not be accurate. The bronze mirror is a subsystem of the divine system of exchange with other worlds and has some of its main functions. Sheng Qian asks what needs to be done to use the subsystem. The system responds that the host must donate blood to become the new owner. Sheng Qian assumes that then he will have 2 systems. The system explains that after entering into an agreement with it, he lost the opportunity to connect his life with another system. She has a dumpster, and the bronze mirror is recognized as recyclable garbage. After processing it, the owner will be able to get a large amount of money, 3 million, in cryptocurrency. Sheng Qian says the amount is tempting, but it's a one-time deal. He asks if the mirror will disappear after being absorbed. The system confirms that it will disappear. He says he needs the money, but it's wasteful to throw away such an item as trash. It asks if another person can master this system. After a pause, the system responds yes. Sheng Qian decides to find someone who wants to use it to earn money. In the evening, at the Sheng family home, he appears in his father's body. A servant greets him. Wu Yun notices that the host didn't take medicine in the morning and afternoon. In the room, he opens the chest of drawers where the medicine is kept. To lower blood pressure, cardiotherapy, to improve blood circulation, he's taking cardiotherapy. A month later, thanks to the transformation of the robot, Head Sheng dies of a heart attack. Sheng Qian disguised himself as his father, and then revealed himself to everyone 2 weeks before the master's death. According to his will, he inherited the Sheng family corporation. Apart from the already dead Sheng Ru's song, no one knows who died in his place on the day of the attack. At his father's grave, Sheng Qian thinks that he did not hold back his emotions towards him, and when he saw him in the wine cellar a few days ago, he felt depressed. He says that he can't hold back the tears and now understands that the bond between a father and children is not so easy to break, even if he was kicked out of the house. He admits that he never called him daddy, but his blood runs in his veins. He had his revenge, and now it was all over. He shouts, "Father!" and asks Uncle Wu and the others to go back first, leaving him alone. A strange little object appears from a box near the grave. Sheng Qian says he's back and leaves. Later, he becomes the head of the Sheng family, as Hao Tian is suspected of organizing the murder and goes into hiding. Many people are unhappy with him, considering him a child, but with the help of Uncle Wu, he manages things. After the old man's death and Hao Tian's actions, the company's business is going badly. To develop the corporation, I had to borrow a large sum from the bank. The bank's representatives request financial reports on a monthly basis. The company is on the verge, the debt is large, possible bankruptcy. Sheng Qian doesn't know much about business, so he asks Wu Tian to work for the company and direct employees. She is hardworking but requires a high salary. He offers her a bronze mirror, a subsystem of the divine exchange system. He explains that you need more than a drop of blood to use, and you can contact sellers from other worlds. She asks why he won't keep her. He replies that he is hardworking and does not look for easy ways, and offers a profit split of 7-3. Wu Tian insists on having it, and they make a deal. He hands her a list of items he collected after the fight with Hao Tian. Wu Tian activates the system. She feels like she's being controlled by her mind, like a part of herself. The system greets the Earthling and is surprised to see a girl in front of it, but says it doesn't care. Sheng Qian thinks that Wu Tian is stingy, but that is why it is difficult to deceive her. Since the exchange is going on with things, you can't cheat her with money. He goes to bed. The next morning, Wu Tian reports that she stayed up all night because of the negotiations. She exchanged the items for a pill refining device. It creates pills that double the body's strength for 15 minutes, but have side effects. If you laugh, the gain disappears. After the end of the action, severe abdominal pain appears for about half a day. Prolonged drowsiness is also possible. Sheng Qian thinks the item is defective, but Wu Tian explains that if you don't laugh, the body gain for 15 minutes is really significant. Sheng Qian agrees. According to information obtained by Wu Tian through trade, it is this interworld merchant who sells robots, and all of them are created from a special liquid metal that allows them to freely change size. The technical name of the previously purchased model is Transformation Master, and it is also obtained from the same seller. Wu Tian notices that the robot consumes too much power and actually turned out to be defective, so he decides to use this as an excuse to lower the price and buy a new one. In Sheng Qian's room, he speculates that the pill-making device, according to the merchant, absorbs the energy of heaven and earth and produces refined pills. However, they are not suitable for either body tempering or raising the level of martial arts, but only briefly increase the user's power and have side effects. He is surprised by the strange position in which the device makes pills, and thinks that, although the power can be doubled, we need to find the right person for the trials, because for people of the bloodline genius level like Uncle Wu, it's useless, and the pills seem to have limitations depending on the user. At the same time, it is enough for them to be effective in the field of physical training. He agrees that the laughter pill is good, but wonders how to use it to make money. At this point, Wu Tian reports that someone is looking for him. It turns out to be the principal of Yangbei Middle School, Liu Tao. He asks if Sheng Qian has had a good rest, then gets down to business. The provincial martial arts exchange meeting between the schools is about to start. The management attaches great importance to it and wants Sheng Qian to speak on behalf of the school. Sheng Qian recalls that he is still on vacation, and Liu Tao admits the school's guilt for suspending his studies. Shifting the responsibility to Sheng Hao Tian, he emphasizes that he considered Sheng Qian a star of the school, but could not do anything. After being offered $1 million for second place, Sheng Qian agrees, stating that he is a martial artist with an E1 certificate and that the school is underestimated if only second place is expected. The director notes that last year, Sheng Hao Tian helped to take the second place with the second level, but this year the competition is higher. There are third-level students in other schools, and one of them also has an E1 certificate. It goes on to explain that every year before the entrance exams, 9 martial arts schools from Longxing, Yangnan, Yangbei, and other cities gather in Yangjing province to exchange experiences, where genius students appear every year. Last year, Yangbei was ranked second, thanks to Sheng Hao Tian. This year, they have Sheng Qian with an E1 certificate, which is considered even stronger. Longxing School, which won first place last year, has a student named Wang Po with an E certificate. In the training hall, they try to attack him from behind, but his father instructs him not to give in to emotions. Maintain honesty and openness, increase concentration, and bring the third-level developing palm technique to perfection. He recalls that Wang Po was born with the fate of Ashura and a pure mind between good and evil, which is why he received the name Po Kun. However, the Wang family's heavenly palm requires calmness and steadfastness, and the upcoming meeting, where the incomparable genius Sheng Qian with the E1 certificate will be present, will be a test for him. In Yangnan Middle School, a teacher praises student Xiaocheng from an ordinary family for his talent and hard work. He has perfected 3 basic techniques, including hand-to-hand combat. He asks to be allowed to try again, stating that he will not let the teacher down at the competition. Elsewhere, Luo Zheng with his kill system kills a chicken, gets 1 kill point. Reflects that the system requires you to kill living creatures to get points that can be invested in body attributes. For example, in attack, the system does not develop martial arts directly, but enhances basic qualities. Although he is technically only level 1, in fact, he is already stronger than many, but the points for chickens are too small, so in order to become stronger, he needs to kill more serious targets. On the outskirts of Yangzhong City, a blue car with Sheng Qian, Zhang Chao, the driver teacher Lin Dong, and another student, Song Xiaokang, is driving along the road to the competition venue. Song Xiaokang admires that their first class is really strong. Sheng Qian is already at the 3rd level and has an E1 certificate. Zhang Chao is at the 2nd, and his own first level seems insignificant compared to them. He then jokingly asks Zhang Chao if he has really helped Yangbei police maintain order and catch criminals in recent months, and if he has met any superheroes. Zhang Chao replies that he is just doing what he has to do and suggests that they spend the weekend together. Sheng Qian thinks that Zhang Chao is still a very kind person. Teacher Lin Dong at the wheel reminds Sheng Qian that even with an E1 certificate, you can't be arrogant in the exam. Sheng Qian replies that his advantage is that he never underestimates his opponents and will give his all, even if the opponent is weak. The teacher emphasizes that the opponents are not weaklings, but real masters. Wang Po-kun of Longxing High School lost to Sheng Haotian last year as a sophomore. Xiao Cheng from Yangnan High School fought Haotian for an hour and eventually defeated him. Both would be the most dangerous opponents. Sheng Qian understands and privately notes that this is a good opportunity to test his pills. The car stops at the lake. Zhang Chao wonders if they will fight here. The teacher asks to wait and greets the other mentors, Yang, Guo, Hu, who joke that Lin Dong is too relaxed, having a student with an E certificate alone. Last year, he trained Sheng Haotian, now Sheng Qian, and Yang Bei really has a lot of talent. Girls gather around Sheng Qian. He modestly says that it's nothing special. One of the guys is jealous, dreaming of an E certificate and such attention, and Zhang Chao notices that daily training is behind it. At this point, Zhang Chao's system reports, the killer system has been detected, its natural enemy. When the owner is killed, it can be absorbed. At the same time, the other guy's assassin system informs its owner of the presence of the hero system, which is also a natural enemy that can be absorbed when killing. The guy with the system understands that there are other systems, and looks bloodthirsty. Zhang Chao senses the danger and marks his gaze. He thinks about which of the strongest, Wang Po-kun, Xiao Cheng or Sheng Qian, is the owner of the hero system and his real opponent. There is a commotion as the last two schools arrive by helicopter. Teachers discuss the creation of a blood essence bridge. Representatives of the Longxing School confidently declare that they will once again be the first. Teacher Lu emphasizes that they have power. Teacher Lin greets Teacher Lu and Teacher Kang. Wang Po-kun approaches Sheng Qian, asks if he is the same Yang Bei and Haotian's brother, and says that he hopes not to be disappointed. Xiao Cheng's mentor warns him that Sheng Qian is full of energy, fast, confident, and well-versed in third-level techniques, so he won't be much weaker than Wang Po-kun. When everyone is gathered, a man comes forward and asks to move 10 meters away from the lake. He rises into the air without any visible blood essence. Sheng Qian learns from Teacher Ling that this is Mr. Gao Ding, one of the permanent directors of the Central Martial Arts Association, an absolute master of the 5th level of heavenly martial art, able to float freely in the clouds. At his command, the lake begins to rotate, raising a tsunami, and a hidden island weighing more than hundreds of thousands of tons appears from the depths. The guy with the assassin system is amazed and thinks how many millions of points he will need to reach such a level, complaining that his system does not allow him to develop as an ordinary master. Chang Chou wonders how much good he could do with such power. Sheng Qian, on the other hand, thinks about body tempering. The stronger the foundation, the higher the advancement, and wonders what would happen if he reached the 99 minor foundation levels and then entered the heavenly level. Huzhong Island is jointly owned by the 9 martial arts schools of Yangzhong City and is used exclusively for the annual martial arts exchange meeting. Every year, one of the permanent directors of the Central Martial Arts Association, Mr. Gao Ding, personally lifts him up from the bottom of the lake, and after the competition is over, he puts him back under the water. Teachers and 27 students representing 9 schools stay in a hotel 3 kilometers from the island and are brought there only before the start of matches. At the hotel, Sheng Qian explains the rules in detail. The tournament lasts for 15 days. Each day there is 1 round. Students of any school can challenge representatives of another. The winner takes all the points of the loser, completely zeroing out his score. And if the opponent is already without points, the victory brings only 1 point. Each participant has the right to refuse a call once, after which the caller chooses another. The order of calls is determined by drawing lots of teachers, and the owner of the higher number calls first. He notes that the winner-takes-all rule is intimidating, so schools with a large number of strong students are easier to keep in the lead. Reflecting that everyone has their own reasons, conflicts, a desire to become famous or bring glory to the school, he calls them his potential clients. In order to sell berserk pills, he decides not to reveal his face, but to create a new identity of an alchemy master, uses the participants' contact details from the registration documents, buys a new SIM card, and sends out ads for reinforcement funds. One student in the room is surprised to receive a message from a descendant of a great alchemist in the 100th generation, offering a means to win. Most do not believe it. Sheng Qian is annoyed by Ling Xu's rudeness, recalls his behavior, and decides to arrange for him tomorrow. But the main thing is to find those who want to test the pills. He sends the address of the meeting at the lake, counting, "They will come well. If they don't, they will forget." In the evening, people gather by the lake. Sheng Qian appears in a chicken mask, concealing his face, and offers pills to the 3 guys for free to try out. They are surprised that he does not ask for money, consider him strange, and look at each other incredulously. After a few seconds, he disappears, carefully using the transformation master, and concludes that they did not believe, but tomorrow they will see for themselves the need for pills, otherwise his plan will fail. On the first day of the competition, a draw is held. Yangbei High School gets the #1 spot. Song Xiaokang asks to go out first, as a junior, and uses the third hand-to-hand combat technique in battle. The contestant gives up, the referee declares him the winner, and teacher Lin praises him for his training. Zhang Chaoyu then chooses a convenient opponent and wins without much effort. The audience notices that he hasn't moved much and discusses how strong the school's trump card, Shengqian, is. Teacher Ling reminds you to gain points steadily and not engage Xiaocheng and Wang Po-kun until the last day. When it comes to Shengqian's turn, he doesn't hesitate to pick Ling Shu from Longxing School, a guy with green hair. The audience thinks the outcome is obvious. Ling Shu has 0 points and nothing to lose, so he doesn't refuse and only asks not to hit her in the face. Shengqian replies that in martial arts, one must fight at full strength, otherwise it is an insult to the path, but agrees. During the fight, shouts of, "Don't hit your face," are heard, and in the end, Ling Shu is beaten up and falls down, giving up. The referee declares Shengqian's victory. Ling Shu complains with a broken face that he didn't keep his word. Shengqian privately notes that yesterday's rudeness required a lesson, but the main reason for the choice is that such people tend to take out their anger on others after a defeat, and now it remains to wait for events to develop further. After a while, the referee declares the victory to Wang Po-kun from Longxing High School. His opponent is amazed at how strong he is. Viewers note that even after defeating Lei Dong, the second strongest Yang Nan in the school after Xiaocheng, Wang Po did not show the slightest emotion and clearly did not use all the power. Later, the referee declares victory to Xiaocheng from Yangnan High School. He politely thanks for the fight. The audience discusses that he also easily defeated the second most powerful disciple Longxing and allegedly addressed his speech to Wang Po. People agree that Wang Po and Xiaocheng stand apart, and only Shengqian can compare with them, while Shengqian himself sits with his eyes closed, as if resting. He thinks of the three, Ye, Lu Ren, and Bai Xiaofanto, whom he distributed the berserk pills. All of them were defeated and didn't seem to accept the remedy, especially Bai Xiaofan, who looked angry even after beating Ling Shu. When it's Ye's turn, Shengqian mentally urges him to take the pill, but Ye wins with his own strength. Then Lu Ren also wins without any help, and Shengqian irritably wonders why they don't trust his pills. Bai Xiao suddenly calls Ling Shu again. The judge is surprised because Ling Shu just defeated him, but Bi Xiao declares that he deliberately did not use all his strength then, and now wants revenge. Shengqian realizes that he has taken a pill this time. Ling Shu responds mockingly, but the fight begins. Bai Xiao lands a punch to the chest, followed by an uppercut that sends Ling Shu flying several meters away. He is shocked by the opponent's sudden strength. Bai Xiao feels that the effect of the pill is higher than expected, despite Ling Shu's attempt to counterattack with his foot. Bai Xiao abruptly gets behind him, performs a right roundhouse kick, a left-hand grab, and a double take, after which the referee declares him the winner. The audience is amazed. A couple of hours ago he was beaten, and now he won. Bai Xiao remembers the salesperson's warning not to laugh, otherwise there will be side effects, and holds back. Shengqian mentally thanks Ling Shu because it was the defeat that prompted Bi Xiao to take the pill. Lu Ren then declares that everyone is only talking about Shengqian, Wang Po, and Xiaocheng, but now he will show his strength and challenges Zhang Chaoyu, considering him his real opponent. At the beginning of the fight, Lu Ren uses the first hand-to-hand combat technique, a direct strike, the strength of which surprises even teachers. It is not inferior to the third level. Zhang Chao blocks the kick without damage, then Lu Ren kicks. It is noted that his style is straightforward, without complex energy storage methods, and if the opponent is not afraid, he is vulnerable. Zhang Chao launches a series of counterattacks. Shengqian notices that he has become stronger in a short time. Lu Ren uses the fist crossbow technique, claiming that he defeated a third-level fighter with this blow. But Zhang Chao uses the Golden Bell Tower, blocks an attack, knocks the enemy back, and goes on the offensive. Lu Ren realizes that she can't break through his defenses and that her strength is running out, so she gives up. The referee declares the victory to Zhang Chaoyu from Yangbei High School. In his mind, Lu Ren admits that the hero system of his opponent is his real enemy, that he is even stronger than himself. And if this continues, he will not be able to become famous or protect his own life, which means that you cannot sit back and wait. In the evening, Sheng Qianyu's hotel started receiving messages. People wrote that they had already taken his berserk pill, it was very effective, and asked to sell 2 more. They asked if they could buy more, and they said that if you took the pill and didn't laugh for the specified time, there would be no side effects, right? Sheng Qian realized that they were all extremely intelligent, but he also realized that the reason for Bi Xiao's victory over Ling Shu was because of his violent anger. Then a message came from Ling Shu. He was apologizing for yesterday's incident, calling him Brother Lu, and asking him to sell another berserk pill, promising to pay more. Sheng Qian thought he was trying to suck up, but it was too late, so he blocked the number. Later, Sheng Qian continued to sell pills. Customers asked why it does not accept online payments, because now few people carry cash with them, especially large amounts. Others offered transfers because it was inconvenient to carry cash when buying large quantities of pills. Sheng Qian set a price of 8,888 for one pill and decided that it was too cheap. He needed to raise the price tomorrow. He had earned over 200,000 yuan overnight and had already transferred it to the system. He thought that he wasn't stupid enough to give up his bank account and reveal his identity. Starting tomorrow, the business will become more mysterious. All the work will be done by its transformation master. The second day of the competition has arrived. The teacher was talking about Ling Yang, the second genius of the Longxing school, second only to Wang Po. His opponent was Zifan from the Kanglan school, and the assistant noted that he was stronger than the statistics showed. The teacher noticed that the strength of many participants did not correspond to the information. There were too many dark horses. The judge declared Zifan the winner. He thought that victory was on the verge. There was only a minute left before the end of the effect. People admired and praised Teacher Wu. He modestly replied that he just trains them every day, but wondered if the student had taken any strange drugs. Later, the red-haired disciple challenged Ling Xiong. Ling Xiong mockingly stated that he had only recently reached the first level, and after being defeated by Bishao, everyone now wanted to fight him. However, the guy threw him several meters into the wall. Ling Xiong thought that this was impossible. He had definitely taken the forbidden pills, and demanded testing. The teachers decided to conduct a test. Some of the students were taken away. One of them thought it was a good thing that he bought the pill, but didn't use it. Half an hour later, the teachers returned and announced that no illegal drugs had been found. Ling Xiong was indignant, but quickly retreated. Sheng Qian thought that the equipment wouldn't find anything. His pills were from another world, the Earth technique wouldn't detect them, and they were completely safe. The competition continued. Luo Zheng from Gaitang School won. The man chided him for being cruel, but Luo Zheng replied that there were no rules in the fist market and injuries were the result of weakness. The Yangnan school would then choose an opponent. Xiaochen decided to speak first and called Luo Zheng. Luo Zheng thought that Zhang Chaoyu had a system, so he couldn't beat him, and Xiaochen didn't have a system. Their battle was fierce. Luo Zheng's punches were like a spear that could pierce through everything. Even a third-level disciple wouldn't be able to block them. Xiaochen didn't have the same defense as Zhang Chaoyu, but he had honed basic skills for a long time and had a lot of real-world experience. His technique was smooth, like a tree rooted in a mountain. Using only basic techniques, he defeated Luo Zheng and was much stronger than Zhang Chaoyu. After the defeat, Luo Zheng was depressed. He couldn't believe that he had lost to an ordinary person. Xiao Chen had told him that with all his strength, the combat experience was too immature. He was not worthy of being his opponent. Only Wang Po or Sheng Qian were worthy. Sheng Qian thought that Xiao Chen was very interesting, and Xiao Chen called out his name, Sheng Qian. After a while, Sheng Qian would choose his opponent. Everyone was worried, as long as it wasn't them. He thought that he would choose anyone who didn't buy his pills, and pointed at Wang Jun. Teacher Wu was surprised that their school's trump card was chosen. The assistant reminded him that Wang Jun was the strongest student, but he was unlucky enough to go up against Sheng Qian with the second level. Teacher Wu ordered you to fight with dignity. Sheng Qian let Wang Jun start. He used the fist crossbow technique. Sheng Qian nodded the accuracy and strength of the punch, then applied the same technique and suggested that he feel the difference for himself. Wang Jun realized that the technique was the same, but the strength was much greater. Sheng Qian explained that the problem is the wrong stance from the very beginning, which causes each punch to be imperfect and the body's development to slow down. He called the first cause of imperfection is the stance, which affects all aspects of the body. Wang Jun acknowledged that his body hadn't changed much after reaching the second level and asked for guidance. Sheng Qian said that his punch would be the motivation to improve and continued to throw punches. The teachers noted that Sheng Qian is not only stronger than his brother Hao Tian, but also has a better character. Wang Jun gave up, conceded defeat, said that Sheng Qian's advice was better than months of training, and thanked him. Sheng Qian replied that he just did what he had to do. Teacher Wu was outraged that a student knelt down in front of a rival. In the evening at the hotel, Teacher Wu chastised Wang Jun for thanking his rival, saying that it humiliated the school. Wang Jun replied that Sheng Qian had sincerely instructed him. Teacher Wu slapped him and demanded an explanation, hinting at the level of body tempering. He then turned to the other students, saying that they usually didn't reveal themselves in training, but they had become bloodthirsty lions in the competition. He accused them of using something forbidden. The students denied it. Later, the students were standing without their outer clothing, and Teacher Wu had pills. He mentioned alchemy master Lu Dan and wanted to take a look at the person who dared to do such dirty work. Meanwhile, in another place, Sheng Qian was instructing the robot to sell only to those who really want to buy, and to destroy the pills to those who are suspicious. The robot confirmed it. Sheng Qian was waiting for him with his pockets full of money and was practicing. The robot returned in half an hour. Sheng Qian noticed that the charge was completely drained, even though he was fully charging it. He demanded a report. The robot started downloading the last memories before hibernation. On the recording, the masked man said that he didn't have the aura of a martial artist, but that his strength was about level 4 or 5, and asked what strange martial art he was practicing. Then he claimed that he was only a level 5 master, said goodbye, and said that he would take the pills, glad that he hadn't spilled blood and wouldn't have to clean up the body. Sheng Xian realized that he expected to be robbed, but he didn't expect the transformation masters to be able to win. He reasoned that the student couldn't do it. The competition area was sealed, so it must be the teacher. He decided that this person did not come to administer justice but to kill and take the pills. He thought that pills weren't worth killing, but if there was someone so violent among the teachers, it was dangerous. He decided to find it. On the third day of the competition, Sheng Qian noticed that the fights were going fast. No one was using tricks, even though a lot of berserk pills had been sold the day before. All the customers are familiar faces, but it is impossible to understand who robbed the robot. He decided to focus on the fight. Bai Xiao participated in the battle. He thought the effect was ending, but he didn't land any critical hits. If he lost, he would be trained again by the pervert Wu Wei. Teacher Wu demanded that the fight continue. Bai Xiao complained of a stomachache and asked to go to the bathroom. He was forbidden to leave until the end of the fight. He couldn't help but embarrass himself. Another teacher commented sarcastically, comparing pressure to a flood. Teacher Wu found himself in an unpleasant situation and threatened to give a lesson when he returned. Bai Xiao said that the main thing right now was that he couldn't stop it. Sheng Xian noted that he had sold the Kanglang school a lot of berserk pills, and the reverse effect was strong. He decided to check his suspicions. If nothing happened, there was an 80% chance that the thief was Teacher Wu. The robot reported a 99% match with the attacker. Sheng Qian deduced that the thief was Wu Wei and promised that the thief would recognize his punishment. At sunset, Teacher Lu was running around. Teacher Wu joined in, started making strange compliments to his body, talked about the width of his shoulders and hard blood, and tried to touch him. Teacher Lu was indignant, called him a pervert, and left. After he left, Teacher Wu cursed. It turned out that it was Sheng Qian who had returned to his body, and he thought that everything went according to plan. At the hotel, Teacher Lu reflected that he didn't expect this from Wu Wei and decided to stay away from him. At this time, the robot in his room took on the form of Teacher Wu. Teacher Lu noticed the presence. The robot took his thing and ran away. Teacher Lu gave chase, calling Wu Wei a scumbag. In the forest, the real Teacher Wu reflected that he hadn't killed the merchant and that the merchant had continued selling. He wondered why no one came and heard a voice. Teacher Lu ran over and put a pair of women's underwear on his head. Teacher Wu was shocked. Then, the real Teacher Lu Yi appeared, calling him a pervert, jumped up and delivered a crushing blow. Sheng Qian watched from the side and noted that even a level 9 Wu Wei wouldn't be able to resist. Later, the battered Teacher Wu complained about his bad luck. He didn't catch Lu Dan and was beaten up for allegedly harassing him. He saw an ad with mocking text about love and photos of his battered state. Teacher Lu walked up to him. Teacher Wu tried to explain. Teacher Lu said that he showed mercy yesterday and didn't kill him, but now he won't accept an explanation and ordered him to die. After a while, Teacher Wu would pack up his things and leave. The students scoffed as they recalled the announcement and the scandal. Teacher Wu thought that his reputation was completely ruined. He said that he didn't care how the 9 schools competition ended, and he just wanted to leave this sad place. Suddenly, someone hit him on the back of the head with a baton. It was Sheng Qian. He said that Wu Wei had robbed him, and now he had robbed Wu Wei. They were even. Sheng Qian checked the loot and noted that there was little cash available, and he didn't know the PIN code for the bank card. But the pills in the bottle were a real treasure for him. Their effectiveness is much better than his own. He also found a book of secret level 9 martial arts techniques, but he thought it was just another piece of trash. Among the items found was the heavenly palm push-ups technique. If you push up 10 times, the next punch will be 10 times stronger. Sheng Qian thought that this was some crazy old man's delirium because the technique doesn't even use real ki. He deduced that Wu Wei was a collector of useless items. Then Sheng Qian remembered that the teacher's or draw would be over soon, and he had to go back. At this time on the island, Xiaochen stated that he wanted to challenge Sheng Qian from Yangbei School. The students were surprised. It's still early in the morning, but such events are already happening, and they don't know who to bet on, because the fight is already taking place on the 4th day of the competition. Xiaochen explained that many people have low points, so it's okay if they fight. He feels that he is close to reaching the 4th level, and he needs a decent opponent to break a sweat. Sheng Xian replied that if Xiaochen wanted to use him to break through, then he also wanted to see what Yangjing province's best disciple was capable of. The battle began. Both used the fist crossbow technique. The disciples sensed a powerful aura and realized that this was the power of the 3rd level. Teacher Liu noticed that they reminded them of themselves when they were young. The assistant said that these two are worthy of the title of the best in the province. Sheng Qian used the Great Chain Chariot technique. He thought that Xiaochen was a real genius. His method of training and fighting had reached the peak. Xiaochen, in turn, noticed that Sheng Qian's movements didn't have a single mistake, and he performed every punch 100% like himself. Sheng Qian saw the moment to attack and thought, opened up, but he couldn't immediately launch a decisive strike. Xiaochen admitted that he used to think that there was no one who put as much effort into training as him, but when he saw Sheng Qian, he realized that he was wrong. Then, Sheng Qian suggested to determine the winner in one blow, to use the strongest techniques instead of a long, exhausting battle, because there is a possible meeting with Wang Po ahead, and you should not spend too much effort. Xiaochen agreed, saying that his inner energy was ready to break through, but he needed a serious opponent. He thought that he wasn't born into a great family and didn't have powerful techniques. but he had the talent to learn any techniques and make the most of them. However, now he was facing an opponent of the same level. Wang Po observed and noted that they were practicing several martial arts at the same time and had perfected them. Xiaochen used the wind step flow technique and thought that there are no weak techniques. There are only people who use them incorrectly, and perseverance determines strength. Teacher Liu called him a real talent. Xiaochen said that by relying only on the basics and a complete understanding of the meaning of martial arts, he could learn 3 different types at the same time. This is what it means to be weak and strong at the same time. Sheng Qian used the second Bloodhawk strike technique. After the clash, Xiaochen conceded defeat, saying that Sheng Qian was incredible and gave up. Sheng Qian thanked him for the fight. The audience declared that Sheng Qian was invincible. Even Xiaochen couldn't defeat him, and only Wang Po could match him. Teacher Liu noted that the ability to use 3 types of martial arts is impressive. The assistant said that Sheng Qian really tried his best. Teacher Liu added that Xiaochen's moves weren't well thought out, and Sheng Qian's Bloodhawk strike technique was unique. If they hadn't decided to determine the outcome with one punch, it was unknown who would have won. Sheng Qian thought that in this exchange of experience between the 9 schools, he, Xiaochen, and Wang Po were the strongest. But if you think about it, how many other such talents are there across the country? What kind of opponents will there be in the college entrance exams? If Xiaochen is so strong, then what is Wang Po's strength? He decided to go all the way. The 5th day of the competition, Xiaozi walked up to Sheng Qian and thanked him for yesterday's battle. He said that when he returned to his apartment in the evening, he felt that his 3rd level had reached the ideal, and this allowed him to rise to the next. He expressed gratitude for the pressure in the fight. Sheng Qian congratulated him. Sheng Qian asked the system if Xiaozi had a system. The system said no. Sheng Qian was surprised. He thought that Xiaochen's strength level had increased significantly after the upgrade, and it was no longer certain that Wang Po would be able to win. He originally knew that Xiaochen would challenge the first place to stabilize the new forces. The battle between Xiaochen and Wang Po was fierce. Xiaochen only relied on his own skills, being compared to a cypress tree rooted in the ground. Wang Po was like a major river receiving hundreds of tributaries, allowing himself to be attacked but taking no damage. An hour later, Wang Po won. Despite having a lower level and a smaller advantage, his dawn of steadfastness was very strong. Wang Po thanked him for the battle. Later, Sheng Qian said in his room that he started taking technique pills in exchange. He managed to get 3 books, 5 animal forms, Stream of Wind Steps, and Iron Skin. He said that if he perfected them and advanced to the 6th level, he would be invincible. But he only had 10 days left. He admitted that he wasn't useless, but he wasn't a genius either, and the probability of mastering even one technique in that time was less than 70%, let alone 3. He remembered Wu Tian. He also said that even if he brought one technique to the full level, without the 4th level of body tempering, there was no guarantee of defeating Wang Po. He decided to try the heavenly palm push-ups. According to the description, you need to lie down on the ground, regulate energy and blood flow with special breathing and push-ups to accumulate strength. After 10 times, you need to jump high and hit your palm when falling, and the blow will be 10 times stronger. If perfected, the force of the blow will exceed your own by 10 times. He hesitated, but decided to give it a try. The 6th day of the competition, Xiaochen reported that Wang Po had reached the 4th level. He asked if Sheng Qian had raised his level. Sheng Qian thought that these guys were real monsters. He hoped that the technique would work, and thought that taking 1st place would be nice. The referee announced the fight of Sheng Qian against Lu Renjia from Gaitang School. Lu Ren wanted to admit defeat right away to save his strength. Sheng Qian said that he was disappointed because he needed a real fight to practice the new technique. He declared that he would fight lying down and lay down on the floor. He said that in the next rounds he will take this pose. Lu Ren decided to fight. Sheng Qian started doing push-ups. 1, 2, 3. Lu Ren tried to attack, but missed. On the 4th push-up, Sheng Qian punched. A few seconds later, Lu Ren flew away. The referee declared Sheng Qian's victory. Sheng Qian thought that it was difficult to regulate his breathing during a fight, and the punch only accounted for about 30% of his strength. He decided that he should take the pills in advance next time. 7th day, several berserk pills were found to prolong the effect, one lasting 15 minutes, 2 lasting 30 minutes. Most of the participants were level 1. The difference between them was small, and even after strengthening, it was difficult to determine the winner immediately. The referee stopped the fights at the 45th minute. In the evening, the demand for pills increased dramatically. Sheng Qian received messages asking him to sell 10, 20 pieces or more. He was surprised by the sales growth. The points were gradually concentrated in the stronger students, forming 3 groups. The 8th day, the first group consisted of Wang Po, Long Xing, and another participant. Wang Po defeated everyone with a single palm, and only Xiaochen could stand up to him. The 9th day, Xiaochen continued to fight. Even after losing to Sheng Qian and Wang Po, he was catching up with everyone else. The 10th day, Sheng Qian continued to fight while lying down against the first-level disciples. It was difficult. Sometimes he took pills. He had to do push-ups 10 times to use the technique. The 11th day, Zhang Chaoyu and Luo Zheng were given the nicknames Indestructible Golden Bell Tower and Piercing Spear. Xiaochen, Wang Po, and Zhang Chaoyu didn't buy pills and fought fairly. Luo Zheng seemed strong at first, but he also started taking pills. He tried to challenge Xiaochen, but lost. The 12th day, in the last group, the difference in strength was small, but compared to the first two groups, they were weaker. Sheng Qian continued to practice lying down, sometimes even doing push-ups on one finger, trying to do more than 10 reps, and throwing punches from different directions. The 14th day, Sheng Qian realized that he had reached the beginner level of the technique. At night in the forest, he trained again. The system didn't respond at first. He decided to try one last time. After the 10th push-up, he threw a powerful punch. The system reported that a new entry-level technique, splitting the earth with the palm of your hand, was discovered and a virtual currency upgrade was available. Upgrading to the intermediate level costs 100,000, to the advanced level, 800,000, to the full level 6 million. Sheng Qian decided to upgrade to the full level. After a minute, the system completed the process. He resumed his pose and started doing push-ups. The speed has become the same as in the rack. He landed a crushing blow on the ground and was so excited that he didn't sleep all night. At this time, Zhang Chaoyu was talking to Luo Zheng. He said that the system is just a tool, and everything depends on the goals of a person. Luo Zheng was doubtful and said that he had killed a person. He was thinking of killing Zhang Chaoyu and taking away his system. At that moment, Sheng Qian appeared and called out to Zhang Chaoyu. Luo Zheng left. Sheng Qian asked what had happened between them. Zhang Chaoyu said that he had some difficulties that he couldn't talk about, and asked him to be wary of Luo Zheng in the future. Sheng Qian realized that Zhang Chaoyu had his own secrets. The 15th day of the competition has arrived. Everyone was waiting for the duel between Sheng Qian and Wang Po. People said that Wang Po was able to defeat Xiao Chen at level 4 with level 3, and now he had reached level 4 himself, so Sheng Qian was no match for him. Teacher Liu said that the fight was finally starting, and that the two of them were even stronger than they were in their youth. The assistant noted that this is the most important confrontation among young people. Xiao Chen told Xing Mian that he looked calm and asked what card he was hiding. Wang Po warned that if Sheng Qian fought in this position, he would definitely lose. Sheng Qian replied that this was the position where he was stronger. He assumed his stance and thought that in this battle, he wouldn't take pills and wanted to win on his own. The audience was outraged that he was again fighting, lying down, and behaving arrogantly. Teacher Liu was surprised. Xiao Chen didn't understand. Wang Po said he wouldn't hold back. Sheng Qian thought that his previous opponents thought he was arrogant and thought he was easy prey. But Wang Po wasn't like that. The assistant noted Wang Po's calmness and said that it was now clear how he had polished his palm of steadfastness after reaching the 4th level. Teacher Liu said that the Wang family's disciple is extraordinary. Wang Po attacked. Sheng Qian thought that he was very fast. His technique was lightning fast and silent. The strike was like coming from the shadows. He started doing push-ups, dodging the attacks. People were surprised that he also did push-ups during the fight. Sheng Qian realized that the opponent was too fast, and it was hard to dodge. Their fists collided. Sheng Qian noted that Wang Po is much stronger than his previous opponents, and doing 10 push-ups in such a fight is problematic. You will have to move and make less direct contact. The audience was surprised that he was literally crawling and still holding on against Wang Po. Wang Po stepped up his attack. Sheng Qian had already done 8 push-ups, then 9, while simultaneously applying the Bloodhawk punch. After the 10th, he shouted for Wang Po to test his punch and leapt into the sky, striking out with the heavenly palm. Teacher Liu didn't understand what was going on. Wang Po felt the impact as powerful as if the sky itself was falling. He said that if he hadn't broken through to a new level, he wouldn't have been able to block the attack. He used the ultimate unshakable palm technique, designed to resist the falling of the heavens by strengthening one's mind and energy. After the clash, people shouted, asking if Sheng Qian had defeated the invincible Wang Po. Xiao Chen wondered if he could block such a blow himself. Yangbei School was declared the winner. After that, a banquet was held. Sheng Qian was surrounded by students, asking for WeChat and a phone number. He thought that he had just returned from the bathroom and was already surrounded by fans. Zhang Chaoyu looked grim. A friend asked what was wrong with him. He said it was nothing special. Wang Po said that he didn't know it was possible to accumulate qi in this way. Sheng Qian recalled that he had talked about a new technique. Wang Po said he would win next time. Xiao Chen also promised to win when he honed his skills. Sheng Qian joked that they were drunk on coke and said that he would look forward to meeting them at the entrance exams. Meanwhile, on the roof of the hotel, Teacher Liu was drinking beer. Sheng Qian's teacher thanked them for their congratulations and said that their school won because of Sheng Qian. But it was unknown what would happen next. The assistant noted that they are happy to meet such a talent. Teacher Liu said that if it was 25 years ago, he would be displeased. But these are different times, and now they will be able to control the realm gate. The other teachers didn't understand what he was talking about. Then they were told that 50 years ago, Qi energy returned to the world, and martial arts appeared. 20 years ago, during the blood moon, a mysterious portal appeared. Out of it came uninvited guests that the masters couldn't handle. Over time, the number of masters grew, and the situation improved. The humans began to counterattack on the other side of the portal. The realm gate stabilized and became a permanent door between worlds. The state blocked access, built military bases, and concealed information. Teacher Liu said that previously only the state and elite school teachers knew about it, but it was becoming increasingly difficult to hide it. The assistant added that Earth now has an advantage, but there are still not enough masters, and the number of gates is growing. The teacher asked if it was true that the red moon was the sign of the gate's appearance. At that moment, a red moon appeared in the sky. Everyone was in shock. Gao flew in through the air. He said that the red moon appears near the gate, and the disciples also saw it. He wanted to tell me after the exams, but now he had to hurry. The teachers were worried. The assistant said that he was using the sky sensor for reconnaissance. This is a special skill of the heavenly realm level that allows you to gain information. Gao reported that the opposite world is low-grade, with an area of less than 40,000 square kilometers. The maximum power level there is about the 6th, and the atmosphere is habitable. This is not a threat but an opportunity. Right now, the strongest one there is the 3rd level. The gate will stabilize in half an hour. We need to call the students and let them decide for themselves whether to go or not. You can't interfere with their choice. He said that Jade wouldn't shine without grinding. Teacher Liu thought about how to tell everything in 30 minutes. The assistant said the students would be shocked.